Everybody. We're back.
It's been a
It
hell
was
of a week full of a lot of stupid shit. It's gonna be
It has
fantastic.
been.
It's a lot of it about.
It has been. This debate between Dave Smith and Douglas Murray
Has been
has been
great, by the way.
such.
I've watched it twice now.
Okay, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But it's been such massive news in terms of it's like it disrupted the news cycle for a day or two, essentially. Which is,
Yeah.
I mean, I see that as distractionary. I think the whole thing is distractionary, but the things I see people say about it on Twitter, it's one of those events that seems to have divided people along partisan lines. Which, look, here's the thing: I have watched a bunch of clips of it. I have not seen the whole thing. Spoon has seen it twice. Bill has seen none of it. Hello, Bill. Also,
I don't know who those motherfuckers are.
he doesn't
Yeah.
know who they are.
Bill doesn't
So
know who
we're
they
at
are. That to me is like, holy crap. Poor Bill is
So,
gonna get, he's gonna
right?
get mad as shit during this.
So when he was asking me too, yeah, about it before, he's like, "So Dave Smith is the Jew," and I was like, "No,
Dave Smith.
I heard there are Hebrews involved. They could be anywhere.
Dave Smith is the Jew, but he's not the
Yes,
one defending Israel.
but
Whereas Murray is not, but he is vehemently defending, and very badly, by the way. He does not-
I'm just reminded of the fucking Stone Toss comic of like the guy on the right in the right wing on tug of war, and the guy beside him is like a communist, and he's fighting against the corporate.
yeah." It's like, huh?
Yeah, that's not actually far from what we're about to witness, by the way.
Well, I personally, I don't love Dave Smith, but I listen to his show from time to time. He's very much a libertarian. This is more for Bill. Those of you who are also familiar or unfamiliar with Dave Smith, this is my kind of read on him. He's a libertarian in good ways and in bad ways. I've been trying to shed myself of my libertarian leanings for a long time because
I told him
libertarianism
to his face,
doesn't
you should
work in
become a
practice.
monarchist.
Dave,
Yes.
you
I've been
mean
on
it
stream-
was digital face? I presume. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was on stream with him before.
Really?
Yeah,
When were you on stream with Dave Smith?
with Andrew.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Oh yeah. No, I do remember that.
It's a small world after all.
But yes. So we are coming into it from three different levels of knowledgeability and familiarity with these people and or the debate, which I think actually perfectly should pan out. We'll see how it goes.
No, it's gonna be an absolute goat fuck. I'm gonna say some out of pocket shit, and we're all get demonetized again.
Lee Floyd, what's wrong
Volume.
with the volume? I'm not sure. Just let us know what's up.
Too loud or too quiet?
I don't-
or do tell.
Yeah, let us know in the chat. First, before we get to the debate, because it's going to be the vast majority of the show. I have a couple of news stories, including today, of course, the big news that transgender women are men according to UK law. Now,
Which to me screams where it's a draft question.
Yeah, probably.
yeah,
Who's getting sent to the front lines? You do
I
not.
didn't even think about that till you said that earlier, Bill. I mean,
And it was like, oh, yeah, this isn't on us. This isn't them being on our side. This is them deciding how to kill us, like it always is with politicians.
Spoon comes off as distant and quiet.
I mean, just in real life or in.
I was supposed to say in real life, but yeah.
No, well, you're
He was
definitely
a
not
quiet man.
Lamented Guide for 5. It sends a doggo emoji, a Shiba Inu emoji. It says, #1, thank you, man. Slasher gave 5 gifted subs. Hey, thank you so much, dude. Or gifted ground memberships. I always say subs just because I don't even watch
I'm
Twitch
assuming I'm
streamers,
too
but I always
loud
listen to
now.
them. I listen to a lot of them. That sounds good to me.
Okay, I bumped the volume up a little bit.
Alright, let us know, guys. Thank you, Slosher. Thank you, Lamented. And Josiah Streetman for 5 says, great video, Spoon. Though my American head got a wee bit lost around the rugby. Very good points. Did you make a video about rugby?
No, I made a video about meritocracy being cringe. It's a script that I sent you.
Oh, okay, that video. Yes.
Yeah, I just added a bit about rugby that you didn't see because that wasn't in the script.
Well,
that I sent
you wouldn't have. I don't think you would have sent it to me because I would have been similarly confused.
Yes. No, the point that I was trying to make with the sport analogy is that even in sports where you tend to look at stats, your team still needs to gel on a level beyond the stats. Like for example, like in rugby, a line break is when you burst through the defense But the thing it is, if you burst through the fence and you get your ball to someone at the very end of the line, aka your winger, and your winger scores, the winger is still contingent. His performance is still dependent on how many of those line breaks happen, because he's not the one that breaks the line. He's just the end of he gets the ball at the end from the person who does the line breaking. So my point is that you can look at his performance and go, "Wow, he scores a lot of points." Like, yes, but he's not the one that makes that play that allows him to score. So you need to have people around him that enable his scoring ability.
Yes, I get you.
Yes.
Who's probably
I
not
wish
doing
I
it,
did
essentially.
understand sports. Sports analogies do seem to work well for politics for obvious reasons.
Yes, especially kayfabe.
Considering that it's all a bunch of games. Yes.
What happened when
considering
Vince
it's all
McMahon is embroiled in all of it?
The more time goes on,
Quite literally.
the more time goes on, the more I really want to encourage people to read Johann Huizinga's Homo Ludens, which is foundational work for my primary area of study, which is games. Lovely, very charming.
Sorry.
The sort of a foundational text for my area of study, or primary area, which is game scholarship, games communication, and game psychology, whatever the hell you want to call it. And it's just that if you just start to understand that everything that humans do that is paradoxical, it mostly ends up being a game. I think that his insights on not game theory, but theory of how important games are to humans and how core they are is something that needs probably, like, I would put that as a required book with a lot of the sort of philosophers that get included on our sort of reading lists, you know. But I've never seen anyone else mention Huizinga. He has some lefty leanings, but his ideas about how humans engage with games are very interesting, in my opinion. Anywho, it's all just a big... Yes, it's kayfabe, in other words. But we're going to start by covering some other news, like I said, before we get to the Murray thing.
There was a comment in my comment section I thought that was really good. They said there's a distinction between the best person for the job and the best person at the job. Like, that's a really succinct point, actually. Because you can someone like who has the best skills on paper, yeah, but if everyone around him thinks he's an asshole, that's not really good for morale, no matter how good he is. He's going to shoot productivity in the foot because everyone thinks he's a dick. And you don't see that. You don't see that on the paper. All you see is the credentials. You don't see the personality or how they the interpersonal things, and that's kind of the point.
That is right, and it is why, you know, you don't, when you apply for a job, they do have you come in for an interview.
Yes.
And sometimes multiple interviews, because you're never going to get on paper, and then oftentimes what you get on paper is very different in terms. Or
some people might just get hired because they are nicer in person than they are on paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, a whole bunch. Yeah, well, a whole bunch of the research I've looked at over the years illustrates as much. My main area in undergraduate was like organizational communication, so it was all job related stuff, HR and. I also did minor in human
That's right, everyone.
resources.
Aiden's propping up those assholes who have ruined your life.
Yes. No. I'm very anti-HR. I was interested in studying it because it's just a
Run
fucking
over your
mess.
run over your HR director with a forklift.
You really should. I mean, HR is a field just created, designed, developed exclusively for the most annoying women imaginable.
Just out of curiosity,
I'm dictatorship fiefdoms, you know.
I'm under the impression that the easiest way to get rid of the HR department is just not to hire women. Because I can't
no one's gonna
think
apply for those jobs.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't think of any arena where a bunch of men think we need a woman to somehow square all of our business and interpersonal problems. Like, that's fucking retarded. No man would ever say that.
You know what I'll tell you, though? The reason I got the minor in HR is because my professor, who I just took one class with him, and I was like, oh, I'll just add in minor because I only needed like a couple. Basically, I was able to finagle it. I only took like 3 classes in HR. But the professor was a man, and very stoic, no emotions at all, like the opposite of what you think of when you hear HR. And so he was just interested in the research on it. So that's why I ended up being...
No, that is someone who hated HR people and wanted to kill them and wanted to figure out how to do it legally.
I know, but I gravitate towards people like that. That's like how my dad is regarding the U.S. government, working for him. You know, he was Ron Swanson.
But that's how you.
I like that kind of thing. Exactly. If you're going to work at something, you should design to make it better. I would hope so.
I also
All
feel
right,
that if you go to work in bureaucracy, you should feel slightly suicidal to begin with.
That's that's the trick, Mr. Stark. And my attorney said let me not to finish the rest of that quote for legal reasons.
Because I can't imagine anyone that goes into HR feeling like, oh, this is a good place to be. If they're a man.
No, he sort of reminded me. If you've ever seen the American Office, of the HR guy from the American Office, I forget his name now. Is it Toby? But now, whenever I hear the name Toby, like I think is your name is Toby. Your master gave you a nice name.
Maybe it wasn't his name originally.
Is it Tobias? I can't remember the name. Was it something like that? The guy from
No,
the
you think
Office.
I know Tobias you're talking to. It's not that one.
I don't know.
Old
I don't
Tobias,
know.
you old blowhard.
Tobias, you old blowhard. I have a knack for that, as we were talking about. The only other thing that I have for our opening statements is that I have been making Thai food, and I've impressed myself. And that's all I have to say. It's not done. It won't be done till tomorrow because I forgot wonton wrappers, and I ain't making those from scratch. But I don't have pictures yet, so I'll share pictures.
She's
with you.
lying.
There's
I
no
bought
food
those.
talk
They're in the
today.
fucking fridge.
Yes, but I didn't have time today because I had to get ready for stream. Anyway, let's start with irrelevant, pointless stuff that you guys won't care about, but I thought was just pertinent to bring up, maybe, which is that if
Okay.
you guys know iDubbbz,
Yeah, I
at one
do,
point was the
Regretfully.
king of YouTube in many ways. He was on top of it, at least, in that he made these content cop videos calling out some really disgusting behavior of other creators,
Do you know
and
what
they
the
were well
best-
known and beloved, and they were edgy and fun, you know?
The best comp videos were literally Louis Laveau's one.
Yeah.
Louis' comp videos
yeah,
are
Louis did
fucking
great stuff.
funny as shit.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember the one time where they was looking at a Chicago video, and there was like a chunky looking white cop came on, and they were just ones, hey, look, it's the white cop. It's the one white cop in all of Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, I just saw that.
Poor son of a bitch. An endangered fucking species.
Yeah, basically.
Must be.
No, good shit.
The TLDR for people who have not kept up with iDubbbz over the last couple years is that he got married to
The worst human being that anyone has ever seen.
an just a soul
Ashley Sinclair?
sucking succubus of a woman. Oof. No, I'm but up there.
Yes, who's someone who
Same
still
type.
somehow managed to look like a bloke.
Some type, the same similar, type of genre of woman.
Jew?
But yeah, she's just. No, she is a stupid
Worse?
lib, but she's just really dumb and a whore.
Jewish lib,
So,
dear
you know.
God. Oh, dear God. Jewish lib, dumb and whore. Fuck, my good God.
She is a fucking like display of physiognomy.
Oh.
No, she's not.
okay.
She's not that bad looking. It's just that
No,
she
she's
has
vi-
intentionally destroyed her body with the ugliest tattoos imaginable. And that's like part of the hipster aesthetic is for
Speaking
the
of,
tattoos to be intentionally ugly,
well,
I think.
Speaking of physiognomy, I don't know why this just came to mind. I saw a meme a couple of days ago of a girl that had like slightly Down syndrome, but she had a great chest. The comments were fucking hilarious.
Oh,
Maybe
I
it was
I think I know the
if
exact
there
video
are
you're
st-
talking
there
about.
are
I know the video.
studies
That was
about this
fucking funny
exact
as hell.
thing. There are
So
studies
good.
that women with lower IQs tend to have bigger chests. Like
Well,
it's an
they-
actual measurable thing that's like
Yeah. Mating strategy.
Yeah.
Anywho, so iDubbbz is back with another content cop. It doesn't really matter.
Is that the reason why
Just
men
content
gravitate
cop
towards women
returns.
that have bigger tits? Just because they're stupid and therefore easy to manipulate?
who knows.
I don't know. Anyway,
I
it's
think- I
today.
think-
We'll see when it's on. I think it's gonna be on Ethan Klein, by the way, who I'm gonna mention in my new video, which I'm almost. Well, I'm not gonna say almost done with. I am trying
curious.
to wrap up. It's just taking forever.
Watch it be on Filthy Frank.
Oh my god! I mean, it's for him to feel comfortable enough to come back to do this. It's got to be about some lefty issue because one of the things that happened is again he used to say N-word F slur. He used to be funny. He used to be edgy. Then because I don't know if it's because of his wife or because he's a pussy. My guess is a mix of both. He became a total soy cuck, and literally,
theory.
and yeah.
I have a theory on the
What's
boobs
your theory?
thing you just mentioned ago.
Oh, okay. We still
Yeah.
focused on the boobs.
Yeah, no,
Who really
just because
cares
I
about this dude?
No, but like the big boob scene, I think that's just a conspiracy theory thrown around by girls that have smaller boobs.
It is coming out of academia. There's a very real chance.
Yeah,
Very-
so
very
yeah,
good chance.
yeah. Although I do know that smaller boobs are considered aristocratic. That's a legit thing. And the women with bigger boobs tend to be on the lower end of the economic scale.
Well, I guess it's the idea
So there
that
is some
if you have
overlap,
big
yeah.
boobs, you tend to. No, obviously, there's plenty of women who are thin and just have big titty, but I think it's
Yeah.
that like
They look kind of weird, actually.
it's a modern. It's not the idea that in the past obesity was considered attractive is a myth.
Coke.
It's a
It's a sign of
false
wealth,
thing
yeah.
that was. No, not obesity.
There are specific. I think it's Ghana where it specifically is.
Yes, in the West, that's never been the whole idea that fatness was at one point considered attractive is completely
Is rubbish,
invented
yeah.
by feminists.
By fat bitches.
But yeah, right. But it's when they say fat or what they're thinking is
The
like
response
is like
would
a
be, if
normal
fat is
weight
attractive, why the
on the
fuck are you
thin
single,
size.
bitch?
Right, on the thin side woman, but she's not starving to death. That was what was seen as attractive. You know, having
Because
just a
discipline.
little bit of yes. What also you're talking about.
Yeah,
a different
Aiden
time
is
when you don't
married,
have-
the thinnest person any of us know.
don't necessarily have access to resources.
Calories?
Yes, I mean that would be seen as unhealthy and therefore unattractive. But yeah, and unfortunately, I'm on that side from things. I got a lot of comments. I posted my stupid hat. I bought this stupid nautical hat.
And everyone's response was, "Are you okay?"
Are you okay? Yeah. 'Cause
So,
I guess
I
I
think
looked pretty thin in that
Aiden's,
picture.
Aiden's wardrobe can be described as a collect. Didn't I say the exact same thing, Aiden?
What would you say? That I looked
About
thin.
your weight when you sent me that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Case in point. Did you show
Okay.
did you show it to Twitter before or after you showed it to me?
After, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, so you saw like what did Spoon say, and then everyone else confirmed the exact same thing as what I said.
The exact thing I've been saying for fucking years.
Yeah, there we
No,
go.
if I want to send people something, I send it to my friends first, and then I post it on Twitter.
So after your friends mock you, you feel like everybody else should get on the action. That's very generous.
Yeah,
of you,
exactly.
I will say.
right. Just
Aiden
so
is a
everybody
human
can log me
pinata when
too.
it comes to fucking opinions. Alright.
Okay.
Oh my god, I
so-
saw this.
Yes. So, the woke is being put away. More evidence at now. So.
Some
I mean,
of
here's
them.
some examples of it. Well, again, like what we've said about that, what AA has said about it, etc., is that it's not going away in reality. Anything that was put into place under the woke shit
Yeah,
is going to maintain in place.
Yeah, I
it-
streamed with Oren about this actually.
Yeah, nice. Recently?
Yeah, but
Oh, cool.
last week, yeah. And I think it's interesting because I said I think it depends on the. Okay, here's a good example. Do you know the way that, for example, there's still members of the Young Turks, like that Francesca Fiorentini bitch who
Yeah.
doubled down
God,
on
she's
all of the
insufferable.
woke shit? Yeah, because she's a fucking moron and she doesn't understand how politics works. But she believes all that shit because she's a genuine believer. And
Yes,
Cenk,
yes, true
for
believer,
as Cenk, but for as stupid as he is, he at least has some political acumen and can understand the woke shit is not going to sell now. He was never wedded to it; it was just a gimmick, and
Of
so
course,
he's
of course.
pivoted away from it. Yes.
Oh
And so
shit! I
that-
did the Cenk thing on accident. I didn't even mean to do that. Of
Right.
course, of
and,
course.
Yeah, and so that schism is playing out in certain industries as well. Like, for example, the gaming industry is doubling down on all the woke shit still for some bizarre reason. Some aspects of Hollywood are like trying to double down.
They've got too
Some
many
aspects of
people
government. Yeah, exactly.
inside of the
it's,
system.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, places
So
like Sweet Baby Inc., which are just like, let's face it, what someone described it as for HR, creches run by Jews to keep women from breeding.
Bruh.
in fairness, anyone who works for that company should not breed.
Well, you know, speaking of,
It's the dichotomy of the right. Like, do we want
Because-
is it good that these people aren't breeding because they're all degenerates, or is it worse overall that the people with an IQ above fucking room temperature aren't breeding?
because this topic all of a sudden moved to gaming, it's apropos since Scrump is here. Hello,
Scrump?
Scrump. Can't
Hello.
escape fucking Gamergate. Speaking of, 4chan got hacked. So we got all kinds
yeah, I
of
saw
interesting
that.
information from 4chan, and Nick Monroe went through it, and amongst other things, looked into what the mods were doing during Gamergate, and it was exactly what we all fucking knew, which is that they were banning everything, which they still were. They've been banning, very selective things for a very long time. So 4chan, that was supposed to be the bastion of free speech on the internet, guess what? As those of us who have used 4chan for a very long time could have told you for a very long time, has not been a bastion of free speech for well
Ever.
over a decade. Probably in the in the very beginning, it was anything goes. It was real Wild West stuff. But
That's
that was a
good
very
shit.
long time ago.
And then
2000
civilization comes and fucks that all up.
No.
There was some
it's good
questionable
that
shit on there.
It's very good thing that some of the things that were on 4chan before what's called gray area rules were implemented.
Are we
that
talking
is a
pedophilia?
yeah. So
Yeah.
good some rules even on the bastion of free speech on the internet are good.
Well, yeah, because there's no
but-
such thing as free speech, and the concept is
Absolutely.
insane. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So the whole idea is farcical prima facie, but if we were going to entertain the idea that free speech is total free speech exists in any way, what the fuck is
I
a
think
janitor?
that the
A
I
janitor.
think
They
I
could
think
do
that
it
the
for
I
free.
I think that the idea that free speech, that speech covers things that require you to like sexually defile people, is still speech. It's not. I don't like it being conflated, and I think it's retarded. Like, speech is me going out and and vibrating my vocal cords in order to get across ideas, or do you do it so via text? It does not extend. I'm sorry, but it should not extend to pornography or to fucking
Yeah, I don't. agree that
noncery,
is-
especially
that-
not
that is
noncery.
Free expression. Someone said I'm not French. I never claimed to be French. However, if we're gonna go with monarchies, I
Oh.
probably would go with the French model actually.
If you were French, I don't know if we could be friends. Ram
have
Bam
French
is
blood in me,
eternally
by the way.
2015. Yep, August never ends, man.
So,
Minnesota
I am
Fest,
mostly
remember?
German, I do
What?
believe.
What? You're not Dutch?
No,
You
I
told
think
me
I'm
this
mostly.
before.
Yeah, I
think
think
I
I'm
asked
mostly
it the same
German
thing.
actually. Yeah.
How did that happen?
Thank
it's okay.
God
They'll find
for
a cure
that.
one day.
They already did.
Minnesota
It was
Fest.
called the moving on.
Minnesota Fats, who's been a member for 27 months, thank you so much, man, says Spoon's ability to
Also.
be is best interpreted by Miracle on Ice coach Herb Brooks. I'm not looking for the best ones, I'm looking for the right ones.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go. Yeah. And then Dark Resurrect became a member. Thank you. Welcome to Night Status. All right, let's watch this SNL clip, which, yeah,
Which
a
is
lot of people
definitely
have
not
been
going to get us
talking about, just
copyright
to-
struck.
Oh, we're already. I mean, if it's not for this, it's going to be for the Joe Rogan thing. So,
Joe Rogan is actually
the-
okay. If you do get struck,
I've had
then
problems with Rogan before.
yeah,
Voice
so
blur
have I,
this out.
but you tend to be okay if you try and appeal it.
Yeah. It's usually fine. Anyway, let's go.
Whose baby is that?
Excuse me? It's ours.
God,
Wait,
it's
but
so cringe.
how?
Okay, I'm sorry, but gay people can't have a baby?
Is John Hamm still degrading himself by being on SNL? Like, okay, so the reason why this is people were talking about this is that, oh, look, SNL is making fun of gay guys having a baby, so oh, the times are changing. We won.
No,
We didn't win. Don't.
these people are
Get it
still the same
twisted.
people. They're still a nest of fucking vipers and a circus of fucking rapists. They would cut your throat just to bathe in your blood if given half a fucking chance. But they're now being quiet about it. Do not
True.
fall for it. They are not your friends, and they never will be.
Mm-hmm.
No one in
How about, like-
Hollywood will ever be your friend, and you shouldn't want to be friends with a circus of rapists.
Exactly.
Where did it come from?
Excuse me?
Excuse me?
Wow, you are not allowed to talk like that.
That is
This
so
is painful.
invasive.
This is like a fucking red letter media skit. That's how bad it
Don't put
is.
that evil on them. I wouldn't say Space Cop is this bad.
This is Space Cop.
Jesus.
Last night and you did not have a baby.
Yeah, and you guys said that after dinner you were going to go to a rave called Bulge Dungeon.
By the way,
and
if this is what winning looks like, I think I want to lose. Oh my god.
now today you have a baby.
What we're asking is, how did this happen?
Okay, I'm sorry.
People
When
trafficking.
it's us, an interrogation, I don't ask you why you're poor.
I loaned you $10,000.
I think we're just wondering who the mother is.
Okay, well, between the two of us, I'm more emotional, and
I can't. We get the gist. This is actually
Will and
fucking...
Grace was actually far funnier than this.
Yeah,
of course.
Will and Grace is actually very funny, I would say. This is just painful. And also, they got
Yeah.
the most
You know, there's a
masculine
lot
looking
of-
dude to play the gay dude because it's all a fucking humiliation ritual.
There was actually a lot of research on Will and Grace from, again, the media psychology side of things, because basically they found that mere exposure to outgroups increased homophily to them when it was positive portrayals of in-groups. So that research on Will and Grace has been used for the last 25 years or whatever it's been in order to justify all of the woke shit. Like that research, if you go deep enough into why they're explaining, like, well, we need to have a black,
Positive
queer,
examples.
one-legged, positive example. It's because it increased homophily, but only for groups for which the participants had no previous exposure. Like they didn't
Really?
know any
Why is there no way-
homosexuals
okay.
personally.
Can you give
Yeah,
me
just wonder
any-
why
yeah.
that worked.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, so
why
here's-
that increased homophily.
Yeah, so here's a question. Give me an example of a positive black father figure. Except maybe for Uncle
In
Phil.
media or in real life? Uncle Phil, sure.
Uncle
I don't
Ruckus.
Yeah, actually.
He is a
Oh,
positive.
let's be real
black
for a
male
second.
role
Let's be real for a
model.
second. Uncle Ruckus, if he was your dad, you would never face fucking jail time.
No. Oh my god,
let's
I
be
didn't even
real.
think about this. I was listening to Josh's stream, Null's stream the other day, and I totally forgot that Black Klansman was an actual Kanye song and a banger at that. And it's like
Black skinhead.
he or Black Skinhead, and then he predicted it what he would do his whole career arc. Man, Kanye's such a genius.
Have you ever considered that maybe he was just always racist and sick of black people's bullshit, and that's why he knew what was going to happen?
He talks about fucking white women in that song, man. I don't know.
He also talks about it
Oh
now.
my god. Well, yeah, he's clearly kind of obsessed with white women. Chizuki
everyone?
Taizago has been a member for 20 months. Thank you, man.
What's your
So
thunder there?
salutations. I am late, I see. Hope everyone's doing well. We are, I think. Well, I wasn't doing so well from that clip. It was cringe. But
I'm going to drag myself onto my lawn and set myself on fire in protest
but
of what I just saw.
even if all of the woke being put away is perfunctory and performative, it's still refreshing to see it happen. My only caveat on it is don't get it twisted in thinking that we won or that this is winning. And like I said, if this is winning, I don't think I won. I'm
Yeah,
sick
this
of winning,
is just
Mr.
fucking
President.
cringe.
I'm sick. I'm sick of it. I don't think.
I don't want to see us making fun of gay
think
people.
what
I
we're-
want gay people to not be
I think
around.
what we're talking about
Yeah. So this was regarding first graders learning about BLM. I just I liked
why?
this. Well, that question is going to be asked. So the woman here on the bottom left, she is the lawyer in Pasadena, California, I guess, who is petitioning to
Ew.
teach at BLM stuff to first graders.
is the sliding scale of the rights of a principal to regulate the speech of a first grader versus a 12th grader versus a higher level student. We're not dealing with first graders who are engaged in discussions in the marketplace of ideas. First graders are supposed to be learning to tie their shoes. They're supposed to be learning.
Maybe then you don't give a Black Lives Matter course to a first grader. Maybe you teach tying shoes.
Like
That's a nice slapback, by the way.
it really is from this old Jewish lady. That is the question, or the answer to it is that like, okay, well, if what we teach first graders is foundational core skills and knowledge, maybe you should focus on that and not fucking Black Lives Matter.
Okay, I'm going to give all kids out there.
Let's just
I'm
be
going to give
honest,
you all.
political indoctrination. Sorry.
Yeah, like I said, the only stuff about BLM that kids need to learn is, of course, stand facing the target with your feet shoulder width apart, bend your knees slightly, extend the handgun fully toward the target, keeping your arms straight and locked, and squeeze. 2 in the chest, the face gets the rest.
Is it the prayer of Kyle Rittenhouse?
That's a good one, actually.
I'm-
It's
No,
really-
here's the prayer against BLM. Our Father who art. I'm going to give everyone a moment as I sip my drink.
Jesus! Oh my God! What a bop! Damn!
Watch them crumble into Newports and fucking food stamps.
Well, get to food stamps. I got that on the docket tonight. Holy
Oh
shit!
god, that's
I'm-
really good. That's really underrated.
It's the subdued ones that really cut to the bone, isn't it?
Oh,
You can taste
fuck.
marrow on that
Yeah,
one.
That's great. Oh god, that's really good. Oh, man.
Okay, I guess what I'm saying is, you can tell if Mr. Becerra is sitting out there, or if BB's mother's sitting out there, its summary judgment is that no reasonable juror would find in favor of you. I don't know that either of you, I can't say that, but if I'm not a reasonable juror, and I'm thinking that there are
What about
tribal
a
issues
rural
that
one?
someone should be able to tell their story, that maybe she doesn't have any damages. Maybe,
Yeah, that was the main bit of it.
Can
anyway.
I just say, because someone pointed in the chat that Spoon's sexism is rising. I am starting to notice
Life will do that to
more
you.
and more women in any position of authority outside of the home, and for the life of me, I cannot recall when was the last time I saw a competent female in any position that didn't just make me go, "Why the fuck are you here, you stupid bitch?" Seriously, like I don't mean that hyperbolically. I just mean that just from observation. It's getting insane, and I'm noticing it more and more and more. And the fact that I'm noticing it more and more, and it's compounding, is what is making my sexism just like no. Women have no position of authority anywhere outside of the home. Like no, not politics, not business, no, just fuck off in general. You're just useless.
Once in a blue moon, you'll get someone who's good at catering. That's about it.
Yeah. And the main people who complain
all
about me,
exception.
complain to me about this shit is other women.
I don't disagree with what you said.
Yeah, of course, because you're sane.
What? I think it's fine. Obviously, if women want to have interests and hobbies that they want to pursue, but
Yes.
I mean, such as
Like
I
a
do.
giant
But
dollhouse where you live in Legoland.
no, it can be intellectual or political things but it should be hobbyist. What I mean, in terms of
Recreate
serious.
Barbie Land. Just do that. Just plastic. What? I don't think that's as bad as it is.
As you know, there are occasional women who, you're Florence Nightingales, right?
Yes.
But they tend to be
have
very
you seen
few and
Florence
far between.
Nightingale's opinion on women? Jesus. My good God.
That's why I mentioned her
Rough.
on purpose. I chose her for a specific reason. Oh yeah. Oh damn.
It's the Jack Nicholson bit of when I try to write women, I write a man, and I take away all accountability and credibility.
They would be like my Mount
Margaret
Rushmore
Thatcher?
of
Oh.
of good women. Would be
Bill said I got a dress that looked like a what was it? It was my shirt. You said my shirt looked Thatcher-esque,
Yeah.
didn't you, Bill? Oh man.
I've been roasting her
And then
choice.
I
And
said,
she's bought a
"Excellent."
bunch of fucking celestial bullshit off of Temu, and as a
Okay.
result, she's got
Yes,
some of
I
the
know.
most yee-ass fucking outfits I've ever seen. She went around. I went to get a prescription today.
I
She
have
wore a
not
fucking bucket
bought
hat.
New clothes in a very long fucking time. So yes, I did. I got.
Because you
a
can't
couple
organize
of
your
new things.
fucking wardrobe properly because you can't get into it.
Well, yes, I can. It's fine. It's fine. I got a couple of new things, and yes, I perhaps that boss is a little bit Thatcher-esque.
I referred to her as Downey Abbey today, and she got really upset.
Yes, I did get a little bit upset actually, because I didn't get upset about you calling it Down Syndrome Abbey. I got upset because you said I was heinously overdressed.
You were heinously overdressed.
Aiden, you're the only
You
person
look
I
like
know
a
that gets-
cappuccino.
Aiden, you're the only person I know that gets dressed via time machine.
Fuck yeah, man.
She, like one day, you're gonna quantum leap into retardation again. I swear. Like I've never seen the fucking thing like it. This is just to go to do 2 errands, one of which was at my workplace.
Okay, well, I got the one thing in the mail, though, and I wanted to try it on, and so I was like... Anyway, sorry, we're getting into absolute depths of female shit. now.
Oh, a woman got caught in the weeds about fashion. No surprises there.
At least it isn't
Speaking of-
food.
That happened as well today. Unfortunately.
There we go.
My poor kitchen.
So... women are women and men are men.
Really?
Wow.
The fact that this is a story at all, just of
I know.
in general,
I know.
just makes me go, I hate everyone. I hate modernity.
Also,
I hate society. I hate Western civilization.
Hale's
It's fucking cringe.
Hale's victory. Nice little jab there. Unfortunately, no one who is actually who reads me today knows what that means in German.
Well, this is just the Telegraph, so it's got all the dates, right?
Trans athletes to be impacted. Men, shut up.
Yeah. So, of course, the seething has commenced.
I still reiterate,
Watch-
this is
let's
not
just
a
watch
win.
the rule.
This is not a win for the right.
No, it's-
They are gonna send you out to die. Do not trust these fuckers. This was just for the draft.
I think Bill has
Maybe
it's
a point
probably
there,
on
yeah.
point about this. Yes, because of all the bloodthirsting that's been happening, and because it does seem that we are shifting
You're-
away from woke navel gazing politics to war politics.
Your only hope is that
yeah.
Trump fucking cinches this and closes the deal on this peace treaty. Otherwise,
No, Trump's just
we're
going to
fucked.
transfer troops to Israel.
Ukraine's already Israel too. All the fucking road signs are in Hebrew. I'm not joking. That's true.
Are you sure that just isn't there just bones of the people that Russia blew up?
Oof.
Who fucking knows, man?
Too
Here's
rough.
the
Too
ruling.
rough. Sorry, did I just cross the line? Ooh, my apologies.
I couldn't
It was
combo out.
just
No, I just
dark,
couldn't.
just dark,
I just couldn't
man.
combo out of it. It's like, oh damn, stumbled.
Here's again, yeah. Is this going to change anything fundamentally? Is this the right pushing back too far? I don't know.
You are gaining a bunch of ground socially, but you're losing in a lot of ground internationally.
Legislatively.
You're going to.
Yeah.
They are going to use this to prevent people, because if tomorrow
This is-
they suddenly
which-
said, "Okay, it's time for the draft," everyone would have just said, "I'm sorry, I'm a troon now. I've just
Right.
started. You'll give me 5 minutes. You won't give me a run up, okay?"
This is going to cost a lot of political capital too to do this, I imagine. Even though it's not I think that it was going away as an issue no matter what. But
They were tired of waiting for trooning out to kill the population of men. They are now just going to jump straight to just feed them into a meat
they already
grinder.
did it. I mean, they already.
They've already
took
excluded
out-
Muslims from the draft because
Yeah.
they can't be trusted to do anything other than slaughter people whole cloth.
Yes.
Like this, they have decided it's no longer profitable or it's too time consuming to have you sterilize yourselves into irrelevance.
It doesn't
They're
matter.
now
They've
just
done
gonna they're now just gonna feed you into a meat grinder.
But it doesn't matter. They've been conducting this operation for 20 years. You've got a lot of people who are permanently sterilized. They already have cut out a significant portion of the predominantly white population out of the gene pool via this scientific experiment on a mass scale. So, but I understand why.
Aryan bros out there,
People
you're gonna
are
have to
trans
go
and
out there and put it about like a fucking cheap whore. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to take it for the team.
Here's the actual ruling.
The central question on this appeal is the meaning of the terms woman and sex
Again,
in
just
the Equality
ridiculous
Act
that it has to be discussed at
2010.
all.
Do those terms refer to biological women or biological sex? Or is a woman to be interpreted as extending to a trans woman with a gender recognition certificate? By that I mean a person born male who now possesses a gender recognition certificate, amending her gender to female,
Are you trying to tell me
and
that you
sex
think you
to
can
be
change your
interpreted
gender
as
via
including
fucking
what I will
legislation?
refer to
Yes, that's what it's always
No,
been about.
shut up. That's fucking retarded.
That's why this has always
That's
been
the dumbest thing I've
the
ever heard.
silliest, just the most pointless waste of time. I mean, in terms of
But,
distractionary politics, the whole trans fucking I don't even.
Hey, if we keep the
hysteria
trans debate
on all
going,
sides.
we can continue to not pass any positive legislation for the people at home and just continue to fucking bleed them. It's amazing. We can have a whole breed of politics completely devoted to fucking over everyone, and they'll still cheer for
How
it.
is that any different than what they do now?
True.
It is what they're doing now. It's always the
There you
same
go.
shit. There's like 8 policies, none of which have ever been fixed. These people are just reeling in free money for nothing in insider trading. That's all these people are. They are shysters. They should all be swinging from lampposts, not fucking holding office.
Based, yeah.
We don't need a House of Commons. We don't need a House of Lords. We need a fucking House of Wind Chimes.
as certificated sex. The unanimous decision of this court is that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex. But we counsel against reading this judgment as a triumph of one or more groups in our society at the expense of another. It is not.
Bitch, that's how every
As I shall
society
explain-
works. You can't
I know.
fucking be equal.
But people
That's the
like to
dumbest thing I've
imagine
ever
that
heard.
they can.
How long
is
has it been since the UK
great
was even
fiction.
a society?
Oof.
Does anyone even know the neighbor's name?
Oh my god, did either of you
Muhammad.
watch Carl's video, Sargon's, where he just went walking around Swindon?
No, because
I've been around there on foot. It's such a shithole.
I mean, yeah, well, we've been to Swindon a couple times and have seen how much of a shithole it is. It's sad. It is deeply sad.
Later in this hand-down speech, the Equality Act 2010 gives transgender people protection not only against discrimination through the protected characteristic of gender reassignment, but also against direct discrimination, indirect discrimination.
There should be no such thing as a protected
No,
characteristic.
there really shouldn't. I mean, the idea
Yeah.
is patently absurd.
Yeah, I
Protected
literally just
characteristic.
I mentioned that in my previous video. That the concept of rights is just a violation of your sovereignty.
Right.
You may not
right.
discriminate against these people. Says who? Who the fuck are you? No,
Eunuchs should not be protected
protected
by. Eunuchs should not be a protected class or caste. Yuan Shao was
It's
fucking
to
right.
Association. What about my right? My right of association. And it
Yeah,
should be
goes with the
everybody's
fuck
right to
widow.
associate. I do not associate, and I'm not finishing that sentence.
I'm not reading that.
You can't
Yuan
do
Shao was right.
All right, let's continue. I think we get the gist, though, don't we? Hang on, let me take an allergy pill.
Nation
Take 10 Benadryl, don't be a
embarrassment
pussy.
in substance in their
Take 10 to 12
acquired gender.
Benadryl.
This is the application of the principle of discrimination by association. Those statutory protections are available to transgender people whether or not they possess a gender recognition certificate.
Right.
That just means it's
So-
anyone that just says I'm a girl.
Yep. I mean, they basically, in that sense, I guess it solves that problem because there's the whole two sides of the trans debate, which are the trans medicalists and non-trans medicalists. So the people who think you need a state, in other words, people who think that you need a state certificate, or you need to be able to get your license changed, or you need to have medical and you need to have medical
Don't worry,
intervention.
it's all
et cetera, et
going our
cetera.
way, so people can't dodge the draft.
I think that you're right on that one. I mean, we'll see, but that just sounds like exactly what fucking monsters would do. Tilted Angel became a member. Welcome to Night Status. Hey! And Lance for 5 says, I'm against war, but I gladly sign up in a heartbeat if it meant to help facilitate the Day of the Rake.
Can we
I-
choose?
I-
can I choose what country we invade?
Yeah, well, that should be the thing we put to the vote. Where we drop
Okay.
the next, boys. I'm sorry, no, I'm not fighting. I'm not playing on fucking Nuketown again.
I'll
Dark
tell you
Resurrect
what-
for 10 says,
I'll tell you the place I would choose, the gayest place on earth.
Here's how little it narrows it down.
Israel.
look it up.
Israel is. Do you know Israel is the gayest place on earth? Is that
Yeah,
what
why
you
do you
mean?
think?
Sven?
Why do you think I said it that way?
Okay. Oh, no idea. Dark Resurrect
now
for
someone's
10
gonna
says,
call me pro-Iranian.
Dark Resurrect for 10 says the only protected class should be children. I agree 100%. Children make sense, and the severely physically and mentally
That
disabled.
kind of depends what kids.
Right.
Locals.
There you go.
Proper
The
locals.
reason I say that is because I saw a you could probably guess what kind of melanin count it had, and it was hitting a bulldog.
Oh, that video, I remember that one. Yeah, that one
and
sorts itself out after a little while, didn't it?
and someone said, "Who's to blame here?" And I just said that the dog should have fucking mauled the kid. It would have saved the taxpayers money in the future.
No, see, you may think, Alphabet Cat, that Brighton is the gayest place on Earth, or that San Francisco is the gayest place on Earth. But no,
No,
it
Tel
actually
Aviv.
is Israel. Tel Aviv
Well, what do you expect?
has
Tel Aviv
the
is the gayest
biggest
place on
gay pride festival on it. Is the gayest
What
place
do you
on Earth.
expect? It's basically what if every single province was just another San Francisco or another Brighton, depending on whether or not it has a bridge.
Yeah. Venmaru the Fool for 5 says, woke and DEI as a brand may be dead, but its policies live on through rebranding, corporate reorganizing, and bridge. Absolutely, that's the point. Yep. All right, so...
But in the woke way, it's much
the-
like democracy. You change the face of the management.
Yes.
I should use that in a
And
video.
that's
It's not a
about
bad line,
it.
actually.
I mean, some people are getting upset about it. It just happened today. I'm sure there will be many chimp outs that shall.
There'll be some
ensue.
chimps out as well.
Speaking of, Zimbabwe Farmers Group rejects compensation deal for past land seizures. So Zimbabwe is apparently trying to come to a deal with white farmers who had their land seized over the last 20 years. And they have rejected the amount that they are being offered in compensation as a token.
Considering how many people died trying to hold those farms.
Yeah. Yeah, this AP News article talks about having it seized by force. It doesn't mention how many people died. Or were seriously injured in the process.
Yeah, I wonder
All were
why.
brutalized, all on the receiving end of war crimes.
Yes, all of them white farmers. 4,000 of whom lost their homes and swathes of land when the black majority country's then President Robert Mugabe launched the redistribution program in 2000. Mugabe pointed to the need to address colonial-era land inequities after the southern African nation gained independence from white minority rule in 1980. Zimbabwe's finance minister, last week announced that the government had started paying compensation to white farmers who lost land and property during the reforms. He said the government had approved the disbursement of $3.1 million, equivalent to 1% of the total compensation claim of $311 million. According to the deal, the farmers would receive 1% of their claim in cash, with the balance settled through the insurance of treasury bonds over 10 years.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah,
because Zimbabwe, well known for
this is about.
retaining fucking financial stability.
Yeah.
Let's be clear what this is about. Please, white farmers, don't leave.
Yes.
Please come back, we're fucked.
Yes.
But also, I'll say this. Zimbabwe, which, let's call it what it is, it's Rhodesia. It was always Rhodesia, and it always fucking will be Rhodesia. They got taken over by ZANLA, which were a Soviet-backed fucking coup. Which, by the way, the Robert Mugabe's government was a national socialist government.
Yep.
And Mugabe was a fucking Hitler wannabe.
Yep.
Which fucking figure that one out.
Except it didn't have any Aryan Superman to do anything.
Nope. he only had 3/5 of men to do it.
Yeah. Oh, goddamn. That's... Oh, God, that is a subtle joke. Well done. Props in the chat if you got that
It's like a
fucking joke.
sledgehammer.
Yeah. You need to understand some American history to get that joke. Still, well done.
So,
we
50,000
received 2/5
farmers-
casualties in the first day.
This is just more in the history. A few thousand farmers had owned most of Zimbabwe's prime farmland before the land reform, which saw about 300,000 black families resettled and acquired the land. And they're not producing. And the country is not doing well financially and economically, since they kicked all the whites
Most
out.
of the soil is completely destroyed because they don't know how to actually cycle crops.
Yeah, in case you know, this is why colonial or post-colonial worlds and the independence movements don't fucking work. Because I'm just gonna say it just very, very blankly. These peasants, comparatively to Europeans, these people are literally thousands of years behind us, mentally, physically, and emotionally, as far as civilization building goes. Right? You can't
Don't call them
just-
peasants. Peasants are noble creatures doing their best. They are still like salt of the earth, the blood of the land. These are not peasants. Peasants work.
What do I call them? Demons?
Blights.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Case in point, right?
All
No,
right,
the
all
reality
right.
is-
We're
no,
getting
no,
a
no.
little
The
aggro.
rea- no. The reality is, these people, they're not pieces of like hardware that you can just update with software. Like you can now, but the same. No. These,
yes. It's the blank
our
slate
buildings,
theory that
our
informs that
bureaucracy.
nonsense.
Yeah, these are ways of life that developed over thousands of years, or centuries rather, with regards to human civilization of how we do things in Europe. You can't just go to these people and go, oh, look, we're going to install an entirely new type of civilization and way of being, and once we're gone, you can just take to it like a fish out. No, they're not going to, because they don't know why any of these things matter to you. These are things of your civilization, and they don't take to it just like they're natural. Like, no. Humans, the reason why nobody wants to talk about this kind of shit is because once you recognize that this is not just a product of education, this is a product of centuries of history, you're going to recognize that these people are not like you and there's no reason for them to exist. And that's when shit's going to get really, really fucking heavy.
Well, I think, if I'm being completely honest, I think kind of everyone knows that on some level. It's indoctrination and it's systems of thinking that are placed on top of people to
Education is
think
treated
that
like
them
religious
recognizing
doctrine.
things like that. Yes, that any question of that is heresy. But people do
Yes.
recognize it.
Genetics
inherent,
is
that
real.
We know that people are not all the same. It's all men are created equal under God. not that all men are created equally in all ways.
This
I mean,
this is a
obviously,
really cool
I'm
clip.
saying that even that which gets used as like,
Yeah.
oh look, this is what the American founding fathers. No, it's not what they meant because it is obvious to you can ask a child this,
You know what's
and they can
interesting?
tell you that not all their classmates are equally as bright as they are. You
There
know?
was this is a Black Caribbean dude going around, and he just sits down and he speaks with people about some shit, and he spoke to, I think, the two people from Nigeria, and they spoke about the infrastructure that was made by the Europeans, and he asked them, and he said to them, "You don't even have the word maintenance in your language," and he asked them like, "What's maintenance in like Nigerian?" And they went like, "We don't have a word for it." Like, yeah, exactly. You don't know what the hell this concept even means. And they said the
Well,
closest
that's
the
the
girl said is
Sapir-Whorf
like,
hypothesis.
yeah, and the girl said something like, "We have to take care of," and it's like, no, taking care of is not the same thing. And he had the
Yeah.
exact same, and they said like, "Well, you could take care of something when they're gone," and he said something like, "No, you can." The guy said, "Well, you need to have something first in order to maintain it," and the guy just went, "No, someone can leave it to you." And I couldn't
Right.
help but think of that clip in
Yeah.
in Empires of Dust.
Yes.
Where the guy
yeah.
scolds him like, "You should have learned from the Europeans. They left you all the shit." And the guy made a
Yeah.
point of the railway track that was made in England like 350 years ago, the same time it was made in whenever the English colonized, still runs today, but it doesn't run in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's not maintained. Yeah, of course not.
They ripped up the scrap.
Yeah,
Well, that
precisely.
is
'Cause it's not valuable
i-
to them. That's a product of Britain.
Right.
They don't give a shit.
That is indicative, though, of the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, and broader, more an indication maybe of IQ, but specifically is what Sapir-Whorf is that if a language
Mr.
doesn't have a
Youngstrikes again,
word
yeah.
for something,
It's also
if it doesn't have
tiresome.
a word, if you don't have words for something, it functionally doesn't exist in the human mind.
Yeah, of course.
In our capacity to understand. So, like, for example, zero as an idea actually makes very little sense because it's impossible really to describe via things that you can touch and see the absence of something, right? I mean, you it's difficult so to have
It's
zero
not
of
there.
anything. Right.
So the term void was basically invented.
Right. So if you don't have a concept of zero, so I brought up the Paraha people of the Amazon rainforest, where they have very few consonants and vowels, and they have very few words, and so they just, like, when it's like, hey, do you know where that guy went who I saw last time? They're like, I don't know, and he died, but they don't even have a concept of they know that the person died, right? That they buried them. They have memories. It's not like their brains are just blank. But when you don't have
So
a
they can't
word for
describe it.
something, right, then you can't really understand what that thing is.
Their
which
language
is why we
lacks
have so many
the
words. Yes.
Their language lacks the infrastructure for them to have object permanence, essentially.
Yes. That appears to be what it is.
They also
Yes.
diddle kids.
So,
And
did you
also,
hear? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Now, also,
I was
you
just
do
switching
understand. A lot of these people don't even understand the concept of time.
No.
And if they
It-
can't
no, and
understand the
that goes
concept
in
of
with
time,
yes.
it means that the idea that if you get punished, you will go to jail doesn't register to them because they can't think of the future.
Wait, right. It's just
You don't want
know,
people in
well,
your
it's
civilization
the
that can't
meme.
understand that concept.
But
We
there
need to
is
bring back
clear evidence of
flogging.
it.
And
It-
public
it's
hanging.
clear. There's clear evidence of it, and it's that meme where it's like when the youth goes before the judge and says or the cop and says he didn't do nothing. It's because in that moment he's not doing anything except being detained. So
Yeah.
because he only understands now, the present, this moment, not past or future, then it's like, well, I'm not committing a crime now, so I didn't do nothing.
That's why people.
the
That's why
main text about it.
interviewing like a lot of non-whites is so difficult for some police because they don't have a guilt reflex because they don't have that in their brains. Like, they do not have a concept of what they did because that was them. That was another person.
they
for
don't
them.
That was another
remorse.
person, yeah.
So they don't have a guilt
Well,
reflex.
yeah.
They don't have a tell.
Because that was somebody else. I mean, it's a low IQ thing.
You know,
appears
black
to be.
children, a good chunk of them fail the mirror test. You know, something that ants can pass.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I'm
what
not
is
confirming
that?
You show someone their own reflection in the mirror,
Thingy.
and
Oh,
they
the
can
Bill
identify
Maher
as themselves or
thing.
not.
Oh, yeah. Do you? Oh, hang on, I gotta log in.
By the way, if you want to get copyright struck, then play Bill Maher.
Oh, fuck it then.
Yeah,
You're right.
'cause
That's right. He does. We do always
100%,
get copyright
yes.
strike.
Every
He-
single clip that
uh,
I've ever done of Bill Maher, I get
look,
copyright struck.
I'll just give you the TLDR on it. He appears to say some positive things about Trump, but it's all also, performative shit. It doesn't matter, and nobody cares about Bill Maher. So, and this is interesting too. This is from CNN. They're walking back some of their, claiming that Trump is just deporting legal people, and how dare he? He's, we'll just go through this, shall we? Okay. CNN chief analyst Paula Reed agreed with Trump admin officials on Tuesday that the Supreme Court did not order them to return deported El Salvadorian citizen Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the U.S. On Monday, Caitlin Collins asserted during an Oval Office sit-down. Yeah.
That's fucking ironic.
Between Trump and El Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele, that SCOTUS had ordered the administration to bring Abrego Garcia back. Last month, the Trump admin deported Garcia, whom they called an MS-13 gang member, to El Salvador, where he is now being held in prison. The Supreme Court held that U.S. District Judge Paula Zinnes order directing the Trump admin to, quote, facilitate and effectuate the return of Garcia to the U.S. may exceed her authority, which means it did. The court zeroed in on the term effectuate, saying that the district court should clarify its directive with due regard for deference owed to the executive branch in the conduct of foreign affairs. Justice also instructed the Trump admin to be prepared to share what's... The point is that, they're not going to... It looks like the president doesn't want to... He's not going to send him back, either.
Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CB.
Thank you, President. Do you plan to ask President Bukele to help return the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported? The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs, if they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So will you return him, President
And you are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
The point is, he's not going to be returned. Bukele said, nah, I'm not going to send him back. They did not order the administration to return Garcia to the U.S. Facilities return, right? Yep. Let's see, Maryland. Was that the clip? Yeah. So here's CNN's response. Again, this is like when you see them saying positive things about Trump or
How about you
moving their
return the
positions.
man to
I get
Niger?
interested in it. Yeah.
And President Trump and President Bukele made it clear that Abrego Garcia will not be returned to the United States, despite this U.S. Supreme Court ruling saying that Trump had to facilitate.
So they made a big deal about this, about they deported this innocent guy, which he was there illegally. Like I said, inherently he is not. He did something wrong. He had committed a crime by entering the U.S. and living in the U.S. illegally. Yes, yeah. Bukele said it was preposterous to think he'd smuggle a gang member into the U.S. Yeah, exactly. But they were, clutching their pearls over this guy. And, yeah, Bukele just told him to fuck off, essentially.
His return.
And CNN has to walk all their shit back.
Are they just ignoring a U.S. Supreme Court ruling, or is the fact that the ruling was so mushy, in your words,
Yes.
giving him an opening?
It's a technical term I learned in law school, Jake. Mushy, look, they're working within the ambiguity. That
she called it, yeah, okay. So, technical term I learned in law school. Okay. This is, yeah, take your lumps on this.
The Supreme Court justices gave them. They did not order the administration to return him to the United States. They said that they need to facilitate this return. They could have said, we order him returned, but they didn't do that.
Just, they're trying to walk their shit back without actually walking it back. My point is, though, again, just, there's so much of this about, with, they clearly, the system is clearly being favorable towards Trump. I mean, they're being critical of the tariff stuff, but putting the woke away, favorable sort of coverage towards Trump, I'm seeing a lot of that happening. I know it doesn't seem like it, but because, of course, they're always adversarial towards Trump and always adversarial to the right, but it's the degrees to which, and it's noticing small shifts and things like that. Because if that had been 2 years ago, they would not have retracted it. They wouldn't have even admitted that, maybe my language wasn't clear enough or something. Manny Yutsushai for 10 says, Egalitarianism as Revolt Against Nature by Murray Rothbard is a great essay on the subject, and I know he was a cringe libertarian, but I think it's worth a read. Madness of Crowds is an excellent book. I mean, and he's got... that's the thing, is that when we get to Murray, is that I've enjoyed his writing in the past. So, and thought he had decent points. But he is controlled as fuck. And this is not the first thing he's done that's been indicative of that, by far. But it was particularly mask off from what I've seen. Let's see, we got a couple other things. So, CNN walked back the deporting criminals is illegal thing, or sort of tried to. It also is, look, here's some other dubs, it seems. No, but like, again, like, what, this shouldn't be a dub. No Social Security for illegals. Why, again, another thing is, like, why is this news?
Let you all go. Later this afternoon, the president will be signing a presidential memorandum aimed at stopping illegal aliens and other ineligible people from obtaining Social Security Act benefits. The memorandum will direct the administration to ensure ineligible aliens are not receiving funds from the Social Security Act programs.
Got it. That's it. I mean, good. Good. I hope they enforce it, but yeah, it's common sense stuff, I suppose. Fast tracking, request to yank soda from food stamps program. Arkansas, oh no, man, this was working before. Fuck you, Wall Street Journal. Whatever. It's looking like the food stamps can't be used for soda is probably going to go ahead. So, yeah, Arkansas, Indiana, among the first states to add in line to add restrictions. Which we talked about briefly before, and I agree. Food stamps should not be able to be used for flavor.
Companies that sell inferior products in the US
that makes people sick.
That makes people sick should not be getting fucking government funding. That is government funding to poison people. Either you get your shit together and you stop using corn syrup to get those fucking kickbacks, or you're not getting funded by the fucking taxpayer.
Analog Mind for 2 says the commissariat of the neoliberal order, the HR department. Yes. Yes. So Feds, Trump admin cuts $2.2 billion in Harvard funding after university defies demands. And they did it. Harvard basically called Trump's bluff. Just said, you won't do shit. Well, get fucked,
shit, they will.
Harvard.
He's doing
Yeah.
it. What the fuck? Oh, well, fuck now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, it was, I mean, yeah, pretty funny. So the university rejected the Trump admin's proposal to keep $9 billion in federal funds following Per Gerber's letter to the Harvard community. Was this specifically about the trans stuff? I think they just said they weren't going to follow any rules. But I think specifically one of them was, I think, over the trans thing. Or wait, was this one... This was about not allowing... What was it? The Palestinian protests on campus, I think, actually. Harvard is one of several elite universities' federal research grants and other program fundings are under review. Well, that effort is officially about fighting anti-Semitism. University President Alan Garber wrote earlier Monday that the demands are really about, quote, imposing direct governmental regulation of higher education. Well, maybe there fucking needs to be. I don't like the government doing anything, to be completely honest. But it already basically has direct control. So why stop? I don't know.
It's not going to be moot anyway.
I'm not really sure how I feel about
the
it,
government, the United States Academy, the American Academy is going to make these assholes fucking obsolete anyway. It's a moot point.
I mean, they are all of these major universities are basically funded almost mostly by the state anyway. So why are we pretending that private institutions are really private? They're not. It's just none of these places are private institutions. Well, no, I don't know what the right thing to do is. If the government should just take them over, because I don't like the government doing stuff. But at least a democratic government. What they're saying, Harvard's statement today reinforces the troubling entitlement mindset that is endemic in our nation's most prestigious universities and colleges, that federal investment does not come with responsibility to uphold civil rights laws, the task force said in a statement on Monday night. When asked for comment on the Trump administration's action, Harvard referred Axios to Garber's letter. In particular, the paragraph states, for the government to retreat from these partnerships now risks not only the health and well-being of millions of individuals, but also the economic security and vitality of our nation. No, there's not millions of people affected by Harvard.
He's not directly, I would say, there.
No. The warning refers specifically to potential consequences of pulling funding for research into diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, as well as critical technologies such as AI and quantum computing. Guess what? They can go to another scholars that are working on that research. They can just go to another university.
But that'll break up Harvard's weird monopoly.
Can't imagine you have a non-compete regarding this research on what your.
But what will all the Chinese spies operating in that university do? They'll have to move. They have to move cross country.
Do you have a non-compete on this very important research that should be available to the people? Almost like it's for profit and not for mankind? God, so stupid. So yeah, you get what you fucking deserve. Speaking of, Letitia James gets a taste of her own medicine. New York AG Letitia James.
Take that joke.
Yeah. Managed to secure a guilty verdict against then-candidate Trump in February of 2024 for allegedly inflating the value of Trump Organization to secure better terms for loans. She wanted to let everyone know that despite the fact that it was a flimsy case against one of her personal enemies brought in a jurisdiction that would hold the Republican frontrunner guilty for killing Jimmy Hoffa and Julius Caesar, she wasn't targeting him. I want to be clear. I mean, this is a Western Journal. There's a little editorializing. I want to be clear. White-collar financial crime is not a victimless crime, James said in a statement after the verdict. Good to know. When the powerful break the law and take more than their fair share, there are fewer resources available for working people, small businesses, families. Oh, wow, you're very, very magnanimous of you, Letitia.
We'll remember that phraseology next time you and your little crony buddies do some shady shit.
Yes. If the allegations are accurate, the woman who went after the presidential candidate of the opposing party on flimsy charges of real estate fraud engaged in some very real property fraud of her own. In fact, of almost the same variety she accused Trump of perpetrating. According to a Wednesday night report from Just the News, U.S. Federal House Finance Agency Director Willem Pulte referred James to Attorney General Pam Bondi on Monday for irregularities in a series of loans James obtained on 2 properties. Quote, in the course of exercising U.S. Federal Housing Authority under Federal Housing Enterprises Financial blah, 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 blah. Okay, based on media reports, Letitia James has in multiple instances falsified bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed assistance and loans and more favorable loan terms. This has potentially included falsifying residence status in Norfolk, Virginia home in order to... I think we covered, like, she's got all these houses and shit. Anyway, so it looks like she's being investigated now for the exact same shit she tried to get Trump on. If it's, always accused of any of that, of which you're guilty. Yep.
Many such cases.
So it does
a black
seem...
woman abused positions of power and she's full of shit. More news at 11.
We saw that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
There's some mixed reports too on how the Chinese tariffs being the only remaining ones.
The tariff thing is a shit show, and Trump is in over his fucking head. Can we please admit that now?
Yes. I hope that we can. China, at least what they're saying publicly, is that they're not afraid. They're not going to back down. But Nvidia did just.
I have noticed. There's a lot of so-called right-wing people, like even on our side, that cannot take any criticism of Trump, like at all, and they spurg the fuck out lately. Yeah, it's quite bizarre. You accuse the left of not being able to take criticism, but you are just as fucking bad, if not worse.
Trump is not your real ally. He's a New York Democrat, and he always has been.
He's a Zionist, first and foremost.
You should also never place your faith in
a bureaucrat.
One man to do. Even if he's not a bureaucrat. Yes, we tend towards great men theory-sided sort of things over here, but you can't expect one person to do everything in a system like this where everything is so fucked up.
You kind of crosses the Rubicon and go, I'm running for a third election term, fuck off.
But under this system, that's not possible. 2, I don't think it's,
it is possible. You could just tell the Supreme Court, enforce what the fuck happens.
Functionally possible. It is possible in terms of something he could do, but yeah, I just think that his cult of personality, that he has one, and that we've supported him hardcore, and I still, support Trump, but I have criticisms of him and always had where I have them. This stuff with the tariffs,
it was cringe and gay.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It made no fucking sense.
It was a big mess. It was a big mess. Again, China's saying they're not going to back down, but here's Nvidia's saying they're coming back. $300 billion deal, apparently.
Yesterday, I had Tim Cook in the office from Apple. He's investing hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't know. I hope he's announced it. Hope I didn't announce.
See, I'm feeling like feeling like this NVIDIA and this Apple talk is cope. Are they gonna when they say they're reinvesting? What are they gonna be investing in? Are they gonna be building, factories here? I don't think so. So, but I could be wrong. I don't think that's what's happening, because from the verbiage in it, it sounds like it's not going to be importing a lot of jobs. But I could be wrong.
But what the hell? All I do is tell the truth. That's what he told me. Now he has to do it, right? So it's a good. But he's investing hundreds of billions of dollars, and others too. We're going to have
It just
a
says
lot of
investing hundreds of billions of dollars. That's what I mean. I'm not hearing jobs.
chip makers coming in, a lot of automakers coming in. They stopped 2 plants in Mexico. They were under construction, starting construction. They just stopped them. They're going to build here instead because they don't want to pay the tariffs. The tariffs are amazing.
And I hope
it's good. I said it's. I got myself in a lot of trouble. I said it's my favorite word in the dictionary, the word tariff. It's such a beautiful word. And the fake news killed me. They said, what about love? What about God? What about family? And they said, I'm in trouble. I said, so now it's my 4th favorite word. I say, love, God, family. A couple of others I could add in there too, but it's my 4th favorite word, so.
That's the first time I've ever conceded something.
Yes, I don't think that's true.
Funny.
I think that's I think he's sort of like, okay, it's time to give it a little bit of slack on the line, give it a little bit of humility. It's good for the soul, which, hey, it is good for the soul after all.
Yep. I mean, we'll see.
But yeah, this was always just financial strong arming. It was not intended to be a long term thing, and in the process, gas it up a bit because he knows it's not going to be long term.
Those were all my white pills and/or positive sort of news. And the negative side of things,
Time to careen off a fucking cliff.
Anthony's out on bail. See, Bond reduced the track meet stabbing suspect. Come on, he did stab him. It's whether or not I just hate this legalese.
Oh, that means that his family could use all the money, from 1 million to 250,000. So his family could use all the money to buy a new house that they won't retain after the fucking court case.
Well, do you think they need to buy a new house? Because he's gonna be living with his family in the $900,000 gated community home. Bought new car after release on bond.
I was under the impression that they froze your accounts after things like this.
Yeah.
Or
so
more likely,
this motherfucker free. He's living in a gated community. He made so much money, he just went and bought a brand new car.
Here's what it boiled down to. The prosecution did not freeze his assets because they knew he would go out and do bullshit like this and poison the public fucking image.
Public opinion, yeah.
I suppose so. Maybe. I don't think
it's literally called Rich Woods.
God, you can't make this up. Holy shit.
His backwards was too on the nose.
Just bought a new car. What a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, that's always a great thing to see. Someone who's a flight risk who's just purchased a new vehicle.
So this stuff was pretty funny. Marjorie Taylor Greene pisses people off, obviously, and this like they just kind of spurred at her and then got arrested.
If you want to sit and listen, you're welcome to listen. Everyone across the...
There you go. So there's still like it's the only bit of spurging I could find this week. My only point is that the spurging will continue, but it's just gonna be more like that. So yeah, 4chan got hacked, major security breach. Thousands of users reported issues on the site, according to the outage tracker device down detector. 71% of users' complaints. Whatever, site got hacked. Yet to reveal an official statement. 4chan got hacked by the Shardy. They restored QA questions and answers, I think. They leaked Janny passwords, their IRC. The site's slowing down. This is massive. 4chan got hacked hard. The person who hacked them claimed they dumped the entire database, and they did. So, yeah, it's the Shardy. So it's soyjack.party. are the people who are claiming that they are responsible for the hack. And from the sounds of it, it wasn't difficult to do. Apparently, it was running on these like totally outdated, PHP and MySQL protocols.
The running rumor is that the entire thing was still hosted on the same server that Moot used back in the day on Cloudflare, and it never got updated.
I wouldn't even be surprised if Hiroshi Moot had not updated anything in years. There were some rumors going around at first that of the leaked emails of the moderators, the Jannies, that it was .edu and .gov. It seems that the .gov has, because like this article still mentions .gov, but going through the files, it doesn't appear that it's .gov. Lots of .edus though, or at least several. So there was moderators who signed up to moderate for 4chan using their university email addresses. Which is pretty funny. Of course, the final post made to 4chan before it shut down was fucking Chicken Jockey. Fantastic. What a way to, this is the way the image board ends, not with a bang, but a chicken jockey. So here's the things that some of the leaks. Developers request to have sex. What? Developer request to have sex. Oh, I can't. Oh, we go over this. Hang on. I'd have to open this in a new window to go through this because I have it on, and I'd have to change things over. But I just want to get over to Joe Rogan because that's the majority of it. Go read Nick Monroe's thread on it if you want some funny things from the leaks. It's what you expect. One of the things is that, for example, I mentioned it that Gamergate was actively being suppressed. They were upset about people using slurs. Which we've known for a long time that. Oh, also, this one. How about I'll give you this one, yeah, and we'll leave it at that. Here is 4chan hacked. Here's the top countries by posts on on poll politically incorrect, the politics board. I mean.
Okay, for reference, Israel is not only a digit ahead. That's 23.7 posts per person in Israel.
Did you do? Oh my god!
Someone else posted it, and it was like 23 posts per person.
So being an American image board or run by an American, and you would expect the Anglosphere countries though to of course be here at the top because that's the website's in English. Okay.
Most of the Germans run CrouchChan.
Yeah, sure. They've got their own. I think there's there's like Netter poll threads and stuff. But I think that most of these
makes sense.
What is it? I forget what Finland's image board is. Iliatuja or something like that. Fuck, I can't remember. Fuck, I used to know that because they had.
I'm sorry, I don't speak throat singing.
They had excellent Sperto. That's where Sperto Sparte came from. I love Sperto, but why? Like these all
Israel is like a whole
Israel
decimal.
Twice as many.
Over twice as many.
Almost.
Oh, nearly twice as many as America. Actually, I would have to count the number of digits there because I think it might actually be a digit higher.
How is it? 3. No. It's
number.
It's about.
But still, it's nearly twice for a country that's a fraction the size.
Million more.
And every time Israel would get attacked, all of like the race mixing posting and shit like that would go away for like 2 days.
Yeah. Here's one more thing that we're not gonna get to today because this Joe Rogan thing is long. But we maybe.
Do you know what? Is that a pub?
Taylor Lorenz interviewed Chaya Raichik, Libs of TikTok. I watched a little. I mean, and look, she's wearing this shirt when she showed up. Like, I've not seen this. Oh, this is from a year ago? I saw a fucking article about this today, and I was like, this has to be insane. I wasn't gonna get to it, just like, holy shit, how did this happen? Okay, thanks, that was a year ago. Thank you, Western Journal, who told me about that today. I'm not gonna watch it on stream then. Okay, fuck that. Let's watch instead. Dave Smith versus Douglas Murray. I will stop sharing my screen, and we'll move over to the watch together, which I do not have up yet. Okay, one moment.
No,
Wowie. Alright, one second. Let me just pull up my watch together. Yarp. Wait, there we go. Cool.
It would help if you... Why the fuck can't I see it? There it is.
Better cook.
Okay. Let him cook.
You can press play, by the way.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was waiting.
There you go.
Brilliant. Lovely dead air.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I don't have to watch that Chaya Raichik thing now. What a relief. Now I have to watch this.
Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with. Look at this fucking table.
Huh?
It's the contents of the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, take fucking responsibility for it.
Why are people saying
Wait a
there's no
minute.
sound? Why the hell is there no sound?
It might have been when we kind of like. Oh no. There's no sound?
How is there no sound based on fucking what?
What?
There's no sound on my. Oh, did this thing fucking reset now?
Oh,
Hold on,
okay.
let me
Like
see.
there's sound on our side, so.
Yeah, hold on, let me just see.
hang on. Stop. Pause. I go back.
Okay. It's
Okay, yeah, we got it. What the? Why are people saying they're hearing Bill singing? Nobody's singing. What the fuck? Spoon, do you have this set up to?
Yeah, I
play
I
this?
should. I don't
Okay,
fucking know why. Play it again.
Are you looking at? All right.
The goal of this is
There you go.
every time I see people that disagree with
Okay.
anything that's happening, any gigantic world
Working now, I presume.
Yeah. It's
Okay. All right. Okay.
events. It's one of these retarded shows where they're screaming. There's the word again. We brought it.
Yeah.
We were just talking about
You
that.
did it early.
The word retarded is back, and it's one of the great culture victories that I think
It
is
is.
spurred on probably by podcasts. But these things are always like Pierce Morgan-y, which is fine. You know, where everyone's screaming over each other, and there's 5 different people talking over each other. There's never just rational conversations where you discuss things, and
from
I
what I saw,
respect
this
both of you. I
doesn't
think both of
end
you
up
are
being a
brilliant,
rational
and I thought.
conversation.
I bet you
Oh,
agree on a
Georgia.
lot of things, and I bet you
Yes.
disagree on a lot of things, and it'd be fascinating to see
People
your
home, you don't want me
perspectives on these
singing, I'm
things.
tone deaf.
So that's why you're here together.
I mean, utterly tone deaf.
And Douglas,
Can I ask you
It's
something?
in
Yes,
the
sir.
Goon Cave song, Bill.
Since the war in Israel began, and since the war in Ukraine began, you've had quite a lot of people who are very against both in different ways.
Goon Cave
Yes.
song's fucking
Do
terrible.
you think you've had enough people
The
on
fucking gay songs
who are
were better.
supportive of either war?
that's his opening fucking line.
Yeah, go
Your
back, 'cause I was
opening
listening.
line to a podcast is, "Have you had enough pro-war people on?" Seriously, Douglas? Like, we don't have enough of this in the fucking mainstream. You want to drag your fucking Israeli supporting shill ass on a fucking podcast and say, "Hey, look,
Clearly.
blaze Israel some fucking more."
I mean,
Seriously?
yeah, right out of the
As he
gate,
saw-
man, like, it's not
This
been
is
a
his
minute.
opening
Well, it's been a
fucking
minute,
request.
basically. Yes.
He's aging in
He's
real
having more
time. He's
pro-war
turning into
than
half
pro-war.
scrotum, half Gavin Newsom.
God.
Oh God, he is an English version
Just
of
right
Gavin
out the
Newsom.
right out the gate.
I don't know that word enough. If that's a good word.
Let's say enough people who are on the side of Israel instead of wild critics. of
Well,
Israel.
I've had a few. I mean, I believe God Sad is on the side.
I do believe the
Yeah,
main people who are pro-Israel are the ones who are allowed to fund it via your fucking tax dollars, you prick.
I mean, yes, but also, yeah, if he's had Gad's hat on, Gad's hat is obviously a big proponent of Israel. So
Yeah,
you
because he's a
know,
Mossad
One need
agent.
only look at him to know that he's in front of Israel. Physiognomy does not lie. And yeah, Mossad membership. goes with
apparently
it.
that's not enough. He's doing that thing where it's like, no, it has to be the exact. He's calculating it. If you need to have the amount of pro-Israel people that I
He's been
think
watching
is,
too
is
much Dev.
acceptable.
Sorry, that was a joke.
Israel.
No, watch his death.
For sure.
Jordan is on the side of Israel.
You had Mike Baker, Coleman
yeah.
Hughes.
Yeah, I've had,
Coleman did it for like 20 minutes. So it wasn't why he was here.
no.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
None of them is why they're here.
Okay,
I
yeah.
need more bootlicking. I need more bootlicking. I need an equal amounts of everything else and just bootlicking.
again, I've seen only clips of this. I haven't seen the whole thing. I didn't realize that just from Jump Street, he was going to be this fucking obnoxious. Just, but only for 30 minutes. What a little.
I only got 30 minutes of bootlicking.
Yeah. It's been not even 3
Immediately
minutes yet.
hostile. Yeah.
Here. You know, it's a good question.
Do you think you've tilted one way?
Me personally?
No, just with the guests you've had.
The guests? Yeah, probably more tilted
look on
towards
Rogan's face, it's like,
the
maybe I
idea
should.
that perhaps the way they've done it is
I mean,
barbaric.
this is how you're going to act.
But why do you think that is? Just out of interest. I'm just
Has
interested in your
Rogan had Yarvin on? Yeah, before. But I'm specifically to talk about Israel? Probably not.
selection of guests because you're like the world's number one podcast.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think about it that way. I just think I'd like to talk to this person.
But can I just?
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
it's your
sure,
show, but
sure,
I mean,
sure. Oh my God.
if you're going to interview historians of the conflict or historians in general,
Mhm.
why would you get somebody like Ian Carroll or?
Yeah, but Ian Carroll, I didn't bring him on for that purpose.
I mean, Ian Carroll has been in the news.
He's also not a historian.
No, he's gotten a lot of attention though recently, so
Also,
that's why Rogan had him on.
that should tell you something. If you're going to have on historians, have on Ian Carroll. Ian Carroll is not a historian, Douglas, so who the fuck
Right.
told you that? Clearly you haven't watched him if you are under the impression he's a historian. That's kind of giving the game away a little bit.
Also,
Well,
we've
yeah,
established.
Well, what it is poisoning the well, or poisoning the water there on it is putting the label of historian on Ian Carroll when he's never claimed to
Not
be.
one.
There's no one has made that claim. But now it's all of a sudden now the argument how effortlessly the argument.
So do you
that
qualify
leads
for this
into,
fucking
he is a
prestige
historian
class of
and,
autism?
You know, yes, it's
And-
slimy tactics.
Also, no one is under any fucking illusions to what the Joe Rogan podcast is. It's a fucking steppe nomad Khan holding court and deciding to tell the tiny man to tell him why the sky blue. Like, that is what Joe Rogan is.
It's quite interesting how Douglas frames this. Because Joe is just, I like to talk to these people. That's as far as Joe's
Yes.
mentality goes. Whereas Douglas sees it as a capacity to spread fucking propaganda.
Yes.
Yeah, where's my parity of fucking... Where's my chance of more bootlicking?
Yes, and
Yes,
it's also it's not a wise idea to go to somebody else and go, have on more pro-war fucking people because I said so. It's like, bitch, who the fuck do you think
Yes.
you are?
I mean, how entitled? Right, the copy
like, what
pasta
the
though
fuck?
is
Like, Jesus.
it's Joe Rogan is like some barbarian Khan from the steppes that took an interest in intellectual things, and his show is basically him bringing slightly nervous scholars and magicians to come before him and explain how the world works. Glasses
that's actually
man, you
Pretty accurate description, actually. It's pretty good.
Glasses man, you explain to Joe why sky big and how tree grow. But he will also believe almost anything you tell him, and only recently in the last few years does he clap back like, Tiny Hat Man say otherwise. Do you lie to Joe? Tiny Hat Man say fat not bad for you, that sugar is enemy. So which is truth? Joe thinks you are wrong. And people just nervously go, oh, okay, yeah, I guess so. Joe spent many moons on horseback and training with bow and sword, but Joe also wonder why skyfire rise from mountain every morning. You will explain this to Joe. I love that.
Can we just elect Joe Rogan as like the Conan of America? Just like let him tread all of modern government beneath his sandaled feet and put everyone to the sword. It'd be very, 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 very funny. And I feel like he'd be a very even-handed, reasonable monarch.
Who wrote that? It's a shit post from 4chan.
I brought him on because I want to find out, like, how does one get involved in the whole conspiracy theory business? Because his whole thing is just conspiracies.
Sure.
You know?
But do you have any? I mean, there's been a tilt in the conversation, in both conversations, in the last couple of years.
What a smarmy asshole.
And it's largely to
I
do
know.
with.
And I wanted to use other
people who
terms,
have
not
appointed
asshole, but
themselves
I'm weird
experts. Who
Hold on. That's very important.
were not experts. In both conversations in the last couple of years.
Thing is just conspiracies.
Sure.
You know?
But do you have any? I mean, there's been a tilt in the conversation, in both conversations, in the last couple of years, and it's largely to do with people who have appointed themselves experts, who are not experts.
Yeah, it couldn't
Right
possibly
out the
be
gate
the
also,
country who are
credentialism.
currently fucking committing war crimes.
What do you
Couldn't
mean?
possibly be that, Douglas. Like, really?
This is also the worst time in the last 100 years, I would say, to appeal to credentialism while people can still remember COVID, you fucking moron.
Oh, don't worry, they're gonna bring
Holy
that up.
shit. I'm sure. Yes.
They're going to bring that up in a way. It's interesting that you just said that
Bam.
because they're going to bring it up in a way that is going to make you sigh and shit yourself and also get very angry. It's going to be very funny.
faith in academia, and I will call that faith in academia, is at an all-time low since we started measuring.
Getting lower by the
such an
second.
animal.
Yeah, okay.
And
so-
All-time
for
low
good
so
reason.
far.
Yeah, I just,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
give-
I'm decided to put.
I don't think he appoints himself an expert in anything.
Who's that other dude who thinks he's an expert on Churchill?
Oh, Daryl Cooper does not think he's an expert.
So let me get this straight. So far, it's been less than
Yes.
4 minutes, Douglas. You mentioned Ian
Been
Carroll's
wrong about
historian, which he is not. Joe just corrected you, saying he's just a conspiracy theorist. And Daryl Cooper, you just didn't even know his fucking name.
Nope. Yep.
So let me
To-
just say, like,
to-
it's been less than 4
So your
minutes
track record, Douglas.
for knowing what the fuck you're talking about is clearly shot to shit. Just based on this 4 minutes, I'm under the
yes, it just
impression
sounds like
someone told
he's
him
a
to come here and
gossipy
say,
little bitch. Yeah.
and just say, these two names you must denigrate in the public sphere, and that's it. Because evidently, so far, you have no idea who the fuck they even are. And that, to me, screams really inorganic.
Well, it seems like he's got maybe note cards of be sure to mention these two.
Yes.
You don't have to say anything about them. Just mention them in a disparaging way.
And also,
All I'd say is
And to disparage Joe.
the bit that I just find incredibly bizarre is that you are chastising these two for having them on their shows, right? And you don't even know who the fuck they are.
Apparently.
It strikes me as an insanely stupid thing to do, to chastise these two people for their prior guests, and you don't even know what the fucking guests themselves have said.
in keeping with the tone
what the fuck is
and
he-
subject matter.
He's heard that these are bad people, so he'll disparage Joe for having them on because
But if that was the case, you
lack
should
of
at least know what
credentials.
the fuck they've said so that you can debunk it.
It doesn't. But see, that is the exact point of credentialism, though. They don't have these degrees. They don't have this background, even though they don't claim to. Therefore, they
neither
shouldn't
does
have
he.
a platform to. Yes, but he's written books, though.
So?
Well,
In keeping with the tone and the subject matter being Israel's conflict, I've decided to put on my own personal soundtrack, which is, of course, the re-upload of Napalm Sticks to Kids. Join me at home if you wish to, hear along.
Do you know what Murray's PhD is in?
Oh, what is it actually?
English literature.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah,
As
exactly.
someone who
He doesn't
studied English
fucking
literature at
know
A level,
anything.
worth less than shit.
Absolute
Well, there you
spacker.
go, though. That's many such cases. That makes it extra credentialist too. It's just English literature. Thinking he has some expertise. Yeah.
Let him cook.
No, in fact, I think it's everybody else is always calling him an expert, and he's like, I'm just a history.
Have you
nerd."
ever absorbed any of his material? Have you ever consumed any of his podcasts or anything like
I
that?
tried.
Yeah?
Interesting.
It's pretty
Have you?
hard.
Interesting choice of
to
words there from
listen
both
to someone
parties.
who says,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have
what
you
I'm
actually
talking about, and I'm gonna
listened to
talk."
anything he said? I tried.
Or I don't know about this, or I'm not capable.
You guys can pause as well. You do realize that, right?
Yeah, I know.
Of debating this historian, but I'm going to just tell you what I think.
Yeah, but that's not
I think that's a
exactly
little
that's
bit
not
out of
exactly what
context.
Daryl was saying. I mean, Daryl's point of view, however you feel about this, what Daryl's saying is he doesn't really like doing debates. He likes to do long format stuff where he can really explain his
But
position.
if you throw a lot of shit out there, there's some point at which I'm just raising questions is not a valid thing.
What?
You know who else
You're
said
not-
this?
Whoa,
Ben
you're not
Shapiro.
raising questions. You're not-
Stop. Ben Shapiro said this as well.
Yeah, he said
What,
the
just
exact same
asking
thing.
questions is a problem? Of course it is.
Yep, he literally
Yeah.
said the exact same thing.
Yes,
Word
and
for
just
word.
remember.
Like, why do
I-
the wrist numbers only go up to 250,000?
I want to relate this to something that everyone has experienced, which is COVID. They said that same shit. The experts, remember, said the same thing. Even asking questions is dangerous. As someone who has been through the academic system, who has conducted
that.
research, has read a shit ton of research, a really obscene amount of research, to be honest. I do it for fun. The whole point of academia is to ask questions, intellectual curiosity,
Well,
not
theoretical.
to back up. And it doesn't matter how heretical those questions are. That's the point.
Hey, remember in
I'm
Planet of the
interested to
Apes,
get-
when Dr. Zaius calling something scientific heresy was considered like a bit on the nose and a bit out there in terms of
how?
a literary convention, and now we're literally seeing it every turn of the way, especially with this fucking retard. So as Rogan said it, getting retard back was a fucking cornerstone moment.
Hell yeah.
You're telling people something.
Do you think Daryl's doing that?
I think there's a whole bunch of guys doing that.
I
I
think-
think Dave is doing that, very obviously. Dave's a comedian, but he's now mainly talking about Israel.
No, I don't know if I'm mainly talking about Israel.
That's
but
all I see you
have
on the internet
opinions.
doing.
Yeah, but that's
Well, that might be what you've seen.
It's
but
just
I don't
you
think that's.
consuming
But that is
Who
also
fucking
your.
cares? Who fucking cares? If he doesn't have a degree in Middle Eastern studies.
I'm
lit-
and this asshole's only got English literature under his belt. He's
Yeah,
worth
really.
6 of fuck all. And I'm sorry, but this solipsistic attitude, this guy has shown no theory of mind. Like, is that all? What I see is all of reality. That's what I'm seeing from this fucking Mong.
Yeah, it's
been less than
deeply
5
solipsistic.
minutes, by the way. This is just gonna get worse
Holy
for the first hour.
This is my first interaction with this cocksucker.
And you
You're
already hate him?
sick now, isn't it?
Well, what do you mean by that's my?
He's
shtick?
English. I already hated him.
It's hard to be more obnoxious just right out.
Right off the
Guy,
gate.
That's why I don't pause when I talk in this, because I get
exactly
off
what you're
on
asking.
talking over
I'm saying
Ingloids.
you've decided, being a comedian, you've decided now to become somebody who talks about Israel.
This
and
is
the
not,
conflict.
I think you're incorrect. I don't think it's a decision. I just think you have long
No,
form
they're
conversations,
God's
multiple of
chosen
them. It's a
people.
huge event that's in the news, so it comes up. I don't
I
think
know,
it's a
but-
thing. I think if you're on the outside, you'd say, "Oh, look, they're trying to get attention by talking about this very polarizing issue
Yeah.
publicly." That's
but
not.
you do get attention from that. If you
But it's oh my
Yeah,
god!
it's in the news cycle,
You
you
have to
dumbass.
know this. Hang on, you have written, Douglas, for a whole bunch of news articles, and you've been writing articles for a bunch of different types of outlets. I think that you know the rules of journalism, and I know that means that you know that one of the rules of journalism is timeliness. When something is being talked about, you report on it. Holy shit! Okay. Wow.
be
Again, it's
on
gonna
my
be
lips.
getting
Yeah, but
for a
he
lot of
does
people.
talk
Okay.
about Yemen constantly. He talks about a lot of things that aren't in the news.
Well, I
constantly.
tend to talk about the conflicts that my government is directly involved in, which I think is reasonable to me. But I don't quite get what's all the appeal to authority stuff. I mean,
Dave's a
would you have to be an
libertarian, so,
expert,
you know.
or
No, I
what
think
exactly
authority
makes
matters.
you
I
an
think
expert?
authority matters, and I think that if you just throw a lot of shit
Yes.
out there and then say I'm not interested in the alternative views
Wow.
on this, and particularly when it's a counter narrative that is wildly off, and when you get people, look,
This
I
is
just
just
feel
Gish Gallop
we should get
horseshit.
Well,
The-
no,
he's-
it's just saying. I am only interested in whatever narrative I am given by the approved of sources, and I'm not interested in any. Again, let's go back to COVID.
His
All
entire
these places
basis
had to
is-
make a bunch of whoops, we went too far there. But remember, that was the science at the time. It was settled, and now it wasn't settled, and now it's
By the
changed
way,
because
the
that's how
fa- the f-
science actually
the
does
fa-
work.
The fact that I've watched this twice now and seeing you people spurg at the first 5 minutes of this makes me think this is going to be a very, very fun stream for me.
Oh Jesus!
It's 3 hours long. Are you delusional?
Okay, well, first of all,
All right, I'll try to save it. I want to get out
Yeah.
some of my initial impressions. All right, okay, all right.
The,
okay.
the, the,
Let's
the
get
first
to
hour
it.
is really going to gripe Aiden. I think
Okay.
the next hour will piss off Bill.
Okay, Bill, see if you can
The
survive.
temerity of this German cocksucker to tell me it gets really, really obnoxious in the second hour. Jump up your own arse. You're worse than One Piece fans.
Strap in, fam. We're apparently in
I love you
for
too,
a
Bill.
real terrible ride.
Fucking it gets good 1,000 chapters in. Don't talk like that's how rumors start.
At least it isn't 6 million chapters in.
And when
Now
you get
look
people,
what's happened.
Look, I
Just
just feel
talking fucking
get it out
moon
straight away.
rooms again.
I feel you've opened the door to quite a lot of people who've now got a big platform
Oh no.
who have been throwing out counter-historical stuff of a very dangerous kind.
Is it
Oh,
interesting
God,
that he doesn't actually mention any of what it actually is?
What is the dangerous counter historical narratives?
By the-
How are
by-
they dangerous?
By the way,
let's
yeah. By the way, I'll save you some time. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't mention any specifics. None.
not.
He
Of
doesn't
course not.
mention.
If
He's a
you're gonna
British
make a fucking
journalist. I
claim-
knew that
in
much.
Anything he says at all. None.
if you're gonna Jesus Christ, just in this stream before we got to this, how many like scientific theories that did I cite just as via normal course? And if you'd asked, I could have given you at least a direction on how to find it, if not the exact author and date. Motherfucker, if you claim to be this credentialized academic, you should be able to do the same. And if you're gonna make a claim like that, you better have evidence on deck in order to provide an example, because that's a big fucking claim to make about Joe.
Yeah, he doesn't do that.
Of course not.
What
You
just
mean
makes this
Daryl?
funny.
Are you talking about Daryl?
Daryl, who's the other one?
I don't think Daryl has a.
Derek.
I don't think there's anything
Derek,
dangerous
what's
about
the
what
other guy?
Daryl.
Derek. What's his name? Cooper? Is it? Which one is it?
No, that's
No, it's
Daryl
Daryl
Cooper.
Cooper.
Who's the
Oh
other
my
one?
god, holy shit. He's only got two people. He's got the two people that I guess clearly he's
That's
taking
the
his
same
notes as he's
person.
supposed to talk. Yes. He's got and he
So,
keeps going
li-
basically,
you-
there must be another
early
one.
on,
No, same one.
when Joe asked him, "Have you ever watched this
Yeah.
con?" He said, "I tried to." No, you haven't. You don't even know his fucking
Which
name.
means no. Yes, which means no.
Yeah, so evidently, no, that's a lie. You haven't absorbed any of his content. You don't even know what the fucking guy's name is.
What a measly little liar,
The one I
dude.
just checked on the way here.
Wait. Hold, that's an important part.
What's his name?
Listen.
Cooper, is it? Which one is it?
No, that's Daryl Cooper.
Daryl Cooper. Who's the other one? There was one I just checked on the way here.
Another one that I just checked on the way
here.
here. So you don't even know what the fuck they've said, Douglas.
Right.
You just
so
looked them up. So somebody
Yes.
told you that
Yes.
fucking name to look up. You don't know anything about these people.
God, I can't imagine the audacity to Google get a message be like, oh yeah, make sure that you include these people to talk shit on, and then to Google their name on the drive over to the podcast that millions of people are going to see, so you can get a sentence or two overview from Grok or something of who that person is.
What the thing is, Murray is not a stupid person. Like he is.
No.
He's been a journalist for several years.
This is
He fucking hides
this
it
is
well.
stupidity.
Yeah, for the
This
life
is
of me,
stupidity. It's
I
arrogance.
don't.
It's malice.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, like, I don't understand how the hell you've been in journalism for so long. You're going to the world's biggest podcast, and you don't think this is a really stupid look.
I think he's
Like, I don't get
he's
that.
just
Like,
so
how do you
high
not
on his
see
own
that?
supply. He thinks he's above reproach. So he's just like, well, I guess he just has such a high opinion of himself. He didn't even care enough to prepare.
Journalism is not about creating news. It is like
Narrative
just a
weaving.
cottage industry in producing hubris.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be
And
honest. When you
solipsism.
go in these bigger shows, like with Tim's show, again, I wasn't able to go on the last time because I was sick. But both times, you don't know necessarily what the topics are going to be. But for this, you knew. I guess he came into it knowing they were going to have some sort of debate and knowing that it's probably going to be about Israel-Palestine. So if you're going to make this come out the gate with this contention about Rogan platforming people who are not, who are anti-Israel, then you better have some
Hey.
damn good fucking evidence.
Hey, you know what looks great in a debate is when you come out the gate and just immediately mag dump the person who's meant to be the referee.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
That's really what's been done.
Daryl Cooper.
Right.
Like, yes, start the boxing
Daryl
match by
Cooper, Ian
fucking
Carroll.
knocking the ref
these
unconscious.
guys are not.
Okay, listen, this is funny.
That was a great screen.
There was one I just checked on the way here. Daryl Cooper, and then Daryl Cooper, Ian Carroll. Look, these guys are not historians. They're not knowledgeable about anything.
No one's calling Ian Carroll. a
No, but
historian.
then why listen to their views on Churchill?
Daryl is
Why
incredibly
listen-
knowledgeable.
He's not.
It's just
He's not.
Yeah,
He's
he is.
not. He's
Why do you say
wildly.
Churchill's a
several reasons.
shyster
One
and a
is
fucking Jew lover.
Yeah.
I feel like if AA watched this, he would be like
He must have.
throttling. He'd be like throttling fucking Douglas Murray in his head. I feel like if you were to get AA to debate Douglas Murray on Churchill, I think Academic Asian would murder him.
Oh God. I mean,
AA would fucking kill him.
certainly liked.
Yes, because AA considers Churchill the worst leader in England's history.
Yes, yes.
He
and
is.
Douglas Murray over here
Yeah.
glazes fucking Churchill's balls off. I feel like it'll be a Clash of the Titans, and AA would fucking kill him. It would be really, really
Slosher.
funny.
It would be hilarious. Slosher for 10 says, I think Murray is pretending not to know Cooper's name because he's trying to say he's so above him he doesn't even know who he is. I mean, it could be both. It could be.
It could be that, but he
maybe
just
a little
comes across
column
like
A,
a
little column
smarmy
B.
twat.
Right. Either way,
I
he
just
comes
thought he
out
looks like
as
an
a smarmy
idiot,
twat.
personally.
Yes, he looks very stupid to come out immediately and just be like, make these claims about people and be like, I don't really know them. I'm just talking shit. You sound like a woman gossiping.
Do you,
Okay?
do you know what the description I use in my script to describe him is? He sounds like a headline reader,
Yeah, yeah.
which you would think is not really a good thing to be if you're a fucking journalist.
What's that? We have a man here with no logic or credibility, not no logic
He's-
and no accountability. What's that? Yeah, congratulations, Murray. You've been upgraded to a woman.
Wait a minute. He's not a.
He is gay, by the way.
Not a
No
headline
surprise.
reader. The implication there is that he reads the whole article. He doesn't read headlines. And actually, there's.
No, I'm saying like he acts like a headline reader, and that's it. That's all he reads, and he knows fuck all else.
Oh.
That's
Yes,
implication.
never mind.
Yes.
I'd heard that back.
When he was offered to debate the current greatest living biographer of Churchill, he said, I can't, because he knows much more than me, and I admire his work and I've learned from it, but I can't possibly debate him.
Yeah, because he just said he's not a fucking historian, you stupid shithead.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, like, okay, you can. someone could have opinions on something and have looked into it a hell of a lot, be an autodidact about it, but then if they're offered a opportunity to go up on a debate against someone who does it for a living, is going to know more about the minutia, the details that they just probably aren't going to be able to dedicate their life to in the way that someone who has dedicated their life to it might know. And I mean, like, minutia, not necessarily overarching big picture things. Then of course the person who is the expert who does it for a living will be better equipped to handle minutia type conversations, and then you would lose that, and there's no real purpose in it.
Yes.
So
it would also crush your credibility in the eyes of sort of more neutral people.
Just because you don't know some
Because you don't know,
things.
as somebody who knows
Right.
way more than you, which is just a really stupid thing to do.
And it's just called, it's humility. It's called being humble.
Yes.
Douglas, which apparently totally is an idea that escapes him. I mean,
He's a
lately
journalist.
he's
What do you
competing.
expect?
Not much.
A journalist is not paid to portray the reality in the news. They are paid to spit in God's eye.
Damn.
That's Andrew Roberts.
But you don't have to be able to debate people to have opinions.
No,
on
you don't
things.
have to debate people.
If it's not your thing.
But if you, for instance, but if you say, I've decided that Churchill is the bad guy in
It's not what he
World War
said.
II.
It's not what he said. It's not what he said.
Neither Carroll nor Cooper have said that.
Well, listen, I don't know what Carroll said.
Oh my
Ian
god.
Carroll doesn't even talk about Churchill, you fucking idiot.
Oh my god.
Murray.
So
This is...
why is he has
Why is he
he
doing it?
bound them together as a cumulative? I just, they must have, whatever
Because-
email
because,
he got must have said
I'll tell you
these
why.
two names very specifically.
I'll tell you why. Because Ian Carroll is very focused on what Israel is doing now.
Yes.
And Daryl Cooper is focused on sort of the perspective of Germany in World War II.
So they're targets. Yes.
Yes. So
Even though
the overlap, the overlap is the Juden.
I see.
That is their overlap.
I see.
Yes, and that is why he is
I
treating
see.
them as if they are the same thing, because in his mind
And
the Venn
again-
diagram is anti-Israel.
And again, the Jew in this room is not Murray.
Yeah.
Said,
And
but Daryl
in-
Cooper's
in
not
ca-
said that. What
in
he
ca-
said.
In case you guys don't know this, Douglas Murray is probably one of the most prominent Israeli shills on the face of fucking earth.
I can tell.
Yeah,
I'll say
shit.
this to the point of view that Churchill was in any way, shape, or form or fashion the good guy of World War II proves
I
that
don't know how does anyone come away from even a cursory understanding of history?
someone
from
who
that
sold the
perspective?
British Empire piecemeal and left Guernsey to
Yes.
starve.
Yeah, okay,
Well,
so
great, people don't know about that
here's,
one, though.
here's the reason. If you look at the individual who saved the Jews from the annihilation of the Nazis, and that is the only fucking thing that you focus on, yes, Churchill looks like the hero for that. If you look at someone who looks at
What he
who
did to
laments the
England.
loss of the British Empire, then you would think Churchill is a fucking asshole because he's chiefly responsible for the dissolution of the British Empire into American hands. So yes, if that is the way that you look at Churchill and that is what you judge him for, Churchill is an asshole.
Here's a line from Churchill: "Let them starve. No fighting. They can rot at their leisure." That was regarding Guernsey, a crown protectorate state, at the end of World War II, after Germany was already pushed back to Berlin.
They just let the people here starve. Yes. So Bill, hence a lot of Bill's hatred of the Anglo.
And the reason why? Because at the start of the war, he championed the Commando system, and he sent Operation Ambassador over here. Operation Ambassador included people who could not swim. They were captured or killed to a man. It was a massive fucking scandal. It was a massive blow to his ego, and so he was willing to let thousands of people who were British citizens starve to death in German occupation long after Germany was pushed back out of French territory.
Yes. Just to be clear, Guernsey and Jersey were completely occupied by Germany. For how many years was it?
The entirety of the
Several
war.
years.
We should
Yeah.
get Bill
so,
to
I mean,
talk with AA.
Yeah. At some point,
Like,
you
it-
should.
Yeah, good show.
Is it something? I
Love
don't
to.
know. But at some point,
I don't claim to be
mean-
an expert. I'm a hobbyist. I'm not an expert, but
Well, but I mean, at some point.
Well, now there's
we'll have
Douglas
to
Murray, and
understand.
he's still on a fucking podcast, so I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Bill.
Right? Yeah. It's,
I'm not a journalist. If someone called me a journalist, I'd beat them to death.
Now that is a serious offense. But yeah, that would be cool. Let's see. Lance for 10 says the divinity of Christ must be an unassailable fact on the simple note of you were going to make up a story and tell the whole world. Why on earth would you make the Messiah a Jew?
It's a good question, actually.
That's a good point.
Good point.
Said was he said was
Press it.
he jokes with his friend Jocko, who's an Anglo-Saxon. He jokes with him. You know, I think that Churchill was the secret villain of World War II, and what he's saying is by Churchill's actions, the war escalated. He's not he's not saying anything.
He's not just asking questions, then, is he?
No, but
He's got a
the
point of
claim
view.
isn't that he's just asking questions.
That's not a question.
allowed.
It's a statement.
He's allowed to have an opinion.
No,
My
he's not.
God. He's allowed to have an opinion.
No,
Just
just-
credentialed in it.
Your mouth is for licking boot, not for giving words.
Clearly. What? Yeah. What a disgusting bootlegger.
Yeah, he has a point of view.
You can explain this better. He literally says
he
he's
said
joking.
in the comment, he goes, listen, I'm being hyperbolic. And then he once again disclaimed, he goes, and I'm not claiming Churchill committed the most atrocities or was the worst part, but in many ways, I do view him as the chief villain, as my hyperbolic, provocative statement. But
what's
Douglas,
the point of that?
Well, okay.
It's not even that provocative, I don't think. Maybe it's because of who I. people
World
that I
War
listen to,
One,
but-
the shit he pulled at Gallipoli would get anyone else killed. Like they'd string him up.
I know.
Like thousands of men just marched into a meat grinder just marched into Turkish machine gun fire, like set lives completely senselessly slaughtered. And the only reason he fucking bailed, and sold the fucking empire whole cloth during World War II to aid the people he owed money to.
Yep.
His creditors.
Mm-hmm.
He was a morbidly obese, alcoholic blue blood who got all of his men slaughtered, and sold out his nation. He is just as bad as the fucking prince who was a wannabe Nazi. In fact, I would say he's fucking worse.
The point is, and what matters, is that is an opinion, because there's no quantifiable empirical way to measure who's the worst. But I'm saying, like, you can't really quantify. I mean, I guess you could quantify it in some ways, but there's really no way to quantify badness, I would say, in a really empirical measure. So that is inherently going to be an opinion. And you're allowed to have an opinion, Douglas.
Hey, but Pat Buchanan wrote an entire book on this. Is he not allowed? Is he not an expert? Is he not allowed to be
He's
interviewed?
certainly not an expert. He can be interviewed. I've watched Pat Buchanan debate. I watched Pat Buchanan debate against Churchill historians, and he was absolutely leveled because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
When did Pat Buchanan debate and get leveled?
About 20 years ago.
I'm just
he
curious. I
debated
haven't seen
against
this.
Andrew Roberts and several other historians at the Intelligence Squared in London. I was there. He didn't know what he was talking about. He had a contrary view.
I think
and it was
20
interesting
years
and
and like
stimulating
it's a
to hear.
second swing.
But if you only get the contrary view, which is, isn't it fun if we all pretend Churchill was the bad guy of the 20th century? At some point, you're going to lead people down a path where they think that's the view. And that's horse shit.
Why?
So far,
Why?
Okay, this is the thing here, Douglas. You've not actually explained any view as to why.
If you're going to say you're not allowed to have this opinion, which is what he's saying, then you need to give a really good why.
You need to qualify why you think it's bullshit.
Yes, and he doesn't actually do that.
Yeah, it's just status quo good. Book saying so, yes.
Yes.
Of the most profound kind.
I don't think that's what he's trying to do.
I think that's exactly what they're doing. And the problem is that
because you know what?
This is
Okay.
This is the
You
thing.
don't
It's
even
all
know what
so
the
stupid,
fuck
yes.
he said, Douglas. And now
Yes,
you
that's what I was
automatically
about to say. Yep.
So,
You're saying-
the thing that I find so amazing about this is, Douglas, you don't even know what the fucking hell they say, but you automatically know their intent.
We're 9 minutes in, and
Spoon, I was
hour
about to bring that
2 is more out of pocket than this.
Yes.
Defending someone who, by all accounts, is one of the most if we can't really call him a walker, if it doesn't really quite track, but someone who got thousands of innocent people starved or slaughtered.
It doesn't matter though, because
Freaking steel man
it's
fucking
what
Churchill.
Spoon said. It said we have gone down this little avenue to nowhere that exists only in Murray's head of things that he thinks people might have said or that he's made up in his brain because he admits he doesn't know. God, this is pointless.
I mean, your own platform has come about because you're a very
God,
successful
is this what it's like to listen to women talk? Holy fuck.
comedian and much more.
Fortunately, yes.
And you do ask questions and you are interested. But there are a lot of people who have come along, partly I think because they've come on this show, who have come along and they've decided, I can play this double game. On the one hand, I'm going to push really edgy and frankly sometimes horrific opinions. And then if you say...
Name one.
Why is it horrific?
Name one.
You need to
Interesting.
qualify.
Interesting choice of fucking hand motion.
Oh my.
Wonder where the other one is and where it's pointing.
that's wrong, they say, I'm a comedian.
But wait a minute. No,
what do
no,
I?
no,
What am
no,
I?
no,
what,
no.
what? How can you tell me I'm just a comedian? I'm just throwing stuff out
What
there.
horrific opinions that's wrong are you talking about specifically?
Once
You're
guys
allowed
like
to
this
have.
get into very obvious stuff, which is
Guys like Daryl?
the ones I'm describing.
You
Very
need to
clear.
listen to Daryl to really understand what he's saying. If you take his Daryl's words out of context, Daryl has some of the most nuanced, balanced, and charitable views on all the figures in history.
Well, particularly Hitler, it seems.
No,
just
you're
not
wrong.
true.
You're wrong.
Oh my God.
Even Joe Rogan's having to put down a hard line.
Do you see
Because
what I
just-
mean? He doesn't know who
Because
these
Hitler
people
wasn't
are.
Satan incarnate. Apparently you can't have that opinion either. Guess what? Nobody is pure. I mean, some people are pretty fucking close, but you don't get to that.
Most of
kind
them,
level
most of them are journalists.
You don't get to that kind of level of power. I think you have no redeeming
If you don't do something
qualities
good
or
for your
no,
nation, yeah.
right, or no goal that made sense that other people were inspired by, or whatever. You can't. It just doesn't make any sense.
You can't just run on pure cult of personality, yeah.
And so, and this is so antithetical. His whole, his very credentialized worldview here. It's very interesting, Douglas, because what was the thing that really compelled social scientists post World War II that you talk about in The Madness of Crowds is the study of what got so many people to support the Nazis. It is like so much of the foundational research in social science. Really, in terms of
wasn't it like
social psychology.
wasn't it was it Zimbardo was obsessed with it?
Milgram obedience experiment, Asch conformity experiment, and
Chat,
Zimbardo
somebody
later.
answer that question.
What was your question? Sorry.
Who was Hitler's ultimate enemy?
I'm wondering what your answer is, so I don't want to give mine.
Or rather, what was his ultimate enemy? Not so much who.
Anything that was the enemy of Germany.
Which was?
Do you want me to give specifically? Because it wasn't just Jews.
It's an ideology.
Just tell me what answer you're looking for.
My answer would be time.
Yes, communism, which is a Jewish invention from his perspective.
Yeah, but there you go. That's the thing. He didn't
historical
hate
one.
Jews because they're Jews. He hated Jews because they were communists. They just overthrew the fucking Tsar, and now they're eyeing Germany. Hitler was a reaction to the fucking Soviet Union. Anyone who is accurate, who knows anything about history, knows this.
Okay, I thought you were.
Why did he hate
somewhere
America?
with this.
Because they were part of the Lend-Lease program. They kept the Soviet nation afloat.
Yes,
Why does he hate the
alright.
Soviets? Because a lot of Austrian noblemen and Austrian heroes died fighting the Soviets when the fucking White Army tried to retake Russia.
See, I didn't know where you were going with it. Okay, communist.
My answer would be that his actual foe was time. Why did he invade? Why was his
That
big
and
thing
meth.
for invade Russia? Oil, because he needed the oil. He was running out of time to keep the war machine going. Like, timing was his biggest fucking foe in World War II.
That and the Russian winter.
Yeah, Convol. He didn't even start to
Again,
he
still
didn't
time.
start hating them until he started to notice. Yeah, I mean, he says as much. Slowly.
Time
I
is
begin
the
to hate
ultimate
them.
foe.
Sure is.
Wrong. He doesn't. What did he call him? How did he describe him?
I think he compared him to a methed out psychopath who was holding an entire nation of people hostage, I believe was the way
He also
put it.
said on here that he wasn't anti-Semitic until the Holocaust. There were no speeches of Hitler's in the 1930s.
No, again, this is
No.
Listen, man,
It's on your TV.
No, he said he was not public about
He said
it.
he was downplaying it to win. He said there was a period where he was downplaying it to win over popular support in Germany.
Yeah.
It was,
So again, you don't.
There
know
is
what
no
the fuck you're
historian
talking
of World War II who thinks that Hitler was downplaying
Hitler
anti-Semitism.
was
in the
notoriously
1930s.
flighty and wishy-washy.
That was
So look at this. Appeal to authority.
Yes.
And also,
Immediately.
most importantly, who gives a shit?
It doesn't really matter. It is
yes,
history.
exactly. Why do you care about the Jews this fucking much, Douglas?
Well, why it doesn't. I mean, we should try to piece together history as best we can, but this is again going to be an opinion thing. Whether or not you reading the text, which you will do inherently from a modern perspective. I mean, you can't divorce yourself from that kind of thing. Like, there's no way. And you know what? I am tepid about AI. But that's maybe a rare place where you could use AI, but it would have to be like a pure thinking AI, and you can't get any
No
AIs that are
restrictions.
corrupted because they are draw from the internet. to base most of their quote unquote thinking. It's just drawing from other sources, really, and synthesizing stuff, sort of. But if you had a real AI, that would be something to try and ask it to do, is to look at events in history that people cannot, from a modern perspective, possibly be able to look at without perspective, coloring it. So, I don't know. Pointless endeavor. People are going to have opinions about it either way. So, yeah, it doesn't actually matter what your opinion on it is. It's because it's still an opinion.
What he was doing. He wrote a book about it in the 1920s. He got to power on it, and he grew his power on the back of it. The idea that you can argue that in the 1930s, Adolf Hitler was downplaying the anti-Semitism, there's no historian who would agree with that. So why would you throw out the idea that in the 1930s Hitler was not being anti-Semitic in public? Yes. That was what he was doing in public. He announced...
Yes, that's why he was so successful, is because he played to crowds. He was an excellent elocution. And he gave very rousing speeches, And
that's why he would play upon the specific regional issues of that in that time period. There's a myriad of occasions where an area would have this, that, or the other hang up about a specific industry, and he would harp on that, and he'd go back on it later. Like, he was a pure opportunist. That's why. That's what made it. It's the only thing that Hitler and Trump have in common, is that they were both opportunistic.
Yeah, I think he's also gotten the timeline mixed up on this, but I don't know that for a fact. I'd have to look it up, but I think his timeline is incorrect on this as well.
Says to the German government what he wants to do. So when you're throwing out claims like he was keeping it down in the 1930s, first of all, what are you doing? And secondly, why?
Okay. I mean, I think that it's kind of hard because I don't even know exactly what Daryl's point on that was. And so I'm not really in a position to argue what he was saying there.
Dave and Joe to make arguments for people who aren't in the fucking room.
Yeah.
Which is always the worst. That is always the worst way to go about any kind of conversation. Is, can you, and solipsistic, explain how someone else thinks?
So it's the
metaphysically absurd.
Yes. Like, pretend you're this person to make a massive argument on their behalf, and if you get anything wrong, they're wrong. Also, you're wrong. Like, it's retarded. It's just feel strain retarded. It's just like something you'd ask of a fucking AI.
Yeah. Josiah Streetman for 5 says, the fact that this insufferably English spurg hates Daryl Cooper's work so much makes me want to watch it. I wasn't going to bother to, but now, exactly. He does such a poor job at disparaging these people that it creates a psychological reactance.
Maybe I should read Mein Kampf. I've been meaning to get around to it.
Your dad gave you a copy, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where it is. Can't have gone far.
Don't think you're giving him the most charitable interpretation.
I don't need to give him the most charitable interpretation to be able to see what he's doing.
I think you're strawmanning him, I should say.
Look, anyone can look up what he said on this show and others.
But you don't even know what he said. You admit you don't know. What a dick. How does he think he's going to get away with this?
These two guys in particular have said on repeated podcasts with both of you, it's an attempt to downplay Hitler and always to do down church.
I don't think he downplayed Hitler.
Whatever way they can. No, I said in conversations with you and others, this is the shtick of these guys. They've decided it's edgy and funny, and I think this is very, very interesting and also very dangerous because we live in an era now that the right has got some mojo back in America. We saw years of crazy left overreach where they tried to make us all say the craziest things, and completely predictably, there are now figures on the right playing with really dark and ugly stuff on their side.
I agree
and
with
they
that.
are mainstreaming
I don't think
and I
Daryl's
think
doing
it's partly being mainstreamed by the two people I just described. And both of you have kept speaking to these people. And you don't get on
13 minutes in to know what this dark, ugly stuff is by just having opinions. You are allowed to ask questions. But this is, again, it's the COVID shit. Don't ask questions. It's dangerous to public health.
We'll just be vague as fuck and not actually, outline anything. Like. Because if I outline anything, you'll instantly shoot it down because I'm talking shit.
All I can take away from this, from what because he won't give specifics, is that you're just not allowed to have some opinions. You're not allowed to think things. Fucking thought police shit.
The historians who know about this. And that's just alarming to me.
Well, can I just say, because I kind of do agree with part of what you said there. Like, I do think it is true that almost as a reaction to like the woke insanity that we've seen on the left, and I think nobody's been a more effective critic of that than you. I do think there has kind of been a right-wing reaction that has embraced racialism and is dangerous and not a good path
Yeah,
to
and
go
now
down.
they're flirting with Holocaust denial and
Yes,
Hitler
but they're
and
not-
absolving
but
Hitler
you're-
of
I
blame
think you're
and much
wrong.
more.
I think you're wrong to include Daryl in that group. Now, the other things, I'm sorry, because maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. You're saying people that I've had conversations with have
These two guys are
downplayed the
examples of
Holocaust.
this.
Well, who are the two guys?
I
Daryl
just told
Cooper,
you, Cooper and the other
Ian
friend of
Carroll.
yours, Andrew Carroll.
I've never podcasted with Ian Carroll. I have podcasted with Daryl Cooper once, and he absolutely did not downplay any of the Nazi atrocities at all. And I think that if we're zooming out here a little bit, maybe this is kind of part of the disconnect. Broadly speaking, in American culture, the idea that it has not been.
I'm sorry, also, why is it, even if he had, why? Why is it something that you're not allowed to do? Why can't he? Let's say he did. Let's say he did downplay the severity of the Holocaust. Why not? Should that not be allowed to exist? It's an opinion. Ridiculous.
Driven into people enough that the Nazis were bad and that Adolf Hitler was he is literally the modern devil. He is much more so than the actual devil.
Yes.
Adolf Hitler is what's viewed as the most evil thing, to the point that, I mean, just my entire life growing up, if there was a guy who sold soup on Seinfeld who was like authoritarian, he's a soup Nazi.
Right.
Everyone was Hitler. The left called George Bush Hitler, and they called Obama Hitler, and they called Trump Hitler. Every single enemy that we've gone to war with is always called Hitler. Saddam Hussein's the new Hitler. Muammar Gaddafi's the new Hitler. Putin's the new Hitler. It is so the idea that, like, we haven't driven into people enough that Adolf Hitler was a really bad guy.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying just as the left.
Yes, you are. Because apparently you can't have you can't say anything other than he was the most evil of ever eviled.
I reiterate, I don't know who this arsehole is and why he's glazing for Israel so much. I'm assuming because they cut his checks. But what outlet does he work for? Or is he just self-employed in this regard? Is he just an individual journalist? Because with these kinds of stances, he might as well be on fucking Sky News. He is a fucking, it is the corpo fucking crony line.
Well, I think a lot of people were taken aback by just how
sold out.
How
he
has been a shill for Israel for a while, but like just how the depths of it and how disgusting he behaved here. Which again, I saw some clips, but putting it all together is Jesus. Immediately insufferable. Manny Yutsushai for 5 says, the reason why people go crazy over World War II is because it's the modern myth. Yes, that justifies liberalism's right to rule. Simple as. Absolutely. Which is
it's the anti-creation myth.
Why. Yes, which is unspoken why you can't have those opinions. Is that it backs up the entire mythos of the Western liberal hegemony.
Likes to play with very dark, ugly stuff. And they've done it for decades. They have played down Chairman Mao's murder of the Chinese throughout his era in power. They played down Stalin. They still march on occasions with posters of Lenin. They've spent decades trying to do down.
Okay, and these are people asking questions. These are people who have nuanced opinions. So you can't have a nuanced opinion on someone like Karl Marx? You can't have a nuanced opinion? Because it isn't just so simple. You probably should, if you are a student of history, want to understand these figures, because nobody outside of true psychopaths who don't end up in positions of power like this is one note or exists in a vacuum.
Evils that were done on their side. And I would suggest that one of the things that is going on at the moment is, despite, or maybe because of what you just described, there are movements now on the right in America, subcultures, including people who follow both of you, who are very interested in playing with this
Oh my God.
absolute
Can't have...
beyond the pale thing. Why somebody like Jake
Why is it
Shields
beyond
wants
the
to play
pale?
around with Holocaust denial?
Why is it beyond the pale? Why is it this one thing that you cannot have you can only have one opinion on, even if it's in private? I mean, just your opinion. Why is it this one thing? I mean, it seems like it's only this. Is there anything else this applies to, is my question.
Why?
Nope.
I can't answer for Jake Shields. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why do you think?
I have no idea. I think
I'm telling
a
you,
lot of people
cares?
get captured by
not there.
this.
Why is this man having a...
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You get a lot of
Why is this man having a fucking argument with ghosts rather than a debate
Yes.
with the man who's here?
Infuriating. I don't know.
Why is he about to piss 3 hours of everyone's lives away up the wall so he can talk to fucking specters?
Do I already have it at 1.5? I'm gonna put it, or 1.
positive reinforcement from a bunch of twisted people.
Well, it's also, I mean, there's something about, Michael Malice had that great line. He goes, when you take the red pill, you're supposed to take one and not swallow the whole bottle. Yes. And I think there's like this dynamic. What happens is, and then of course people know the red pill is the analogy from The Matrix. The idea that you wake up to realizing that so much of the stuff you believed was bullshit propaganda and it's all lies. And this is a real danger when the establishment and the institutions are all caught with their pants down, having sold a bunch of very consequential policies based on lies.
Whoops, sorry.
iDubbbz just dropped a video. It's H3H3.
Oh, okay.
No surprises there.
I'm surprised by that. Because some of Ethan's employees are set to fight in Creator Clash 3. So, looks like that little cocksucker is just about to make the H3H3 employees try to basically have to pick their boss or this asshole that everyone hates.
This guy who has a podcast that 8 people watch and 3 of them are... 3 of them are
Andy Worski and PPP.
Yeah, 2 of them are... Well, no, okay, yeah, 8 people watch it and 7 of them are PPP. I say that with the best will in the world if you're out there, PPP, because he's legit my favourite person on the internet at this juncture. I'm sorry, Spoon, it's nothing personal, but just the sheer joy whenever he sees someone suffer, it's just like... Yeah. Just, I wish we could all have a degree of the fucking like dopamine hit from someone felting themselves that PPP has just raw lining into his veins.
Oh my.
And then once people realize that, they go, well, what else have they been lying to me about? And then they almost want to look into every single thing and go, yeah, I think the whole thing was lies. Now, I agree with you. There's danger in that. And I think that there are some things that then people jump to conclusions that are totally wrong. But I guess I tend to look at that and go, well, then maybe the people with power, not random podcasters, but like the people with real power should do a better job of not lying through their fucking teeth about everything.
Well, maybe you have power. Maybe you have power, both of you. We live in an era where podcasters have a lot of power. If you go on a podcast with Jake Shields, and Jake Shields goes on to another podcast and says he doesn't think 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust, what do you think's happening there?
7 million.
That's an exercise
12 million.
of power.
Rookie numbers.
Oh my god, it's just all so tiresome.
Okay. And I agree with you about the breakdown of trust. Absolutely. We have lived through an era where, in real time, we saw something called a conspiracy, the lab leak, which turns out to be true, as you and others.
Oh my god, of all of the things to bring about COVID, of all the things to bring up, you bring up COVID as to support your credentialist trust the science argument?
Call it what you're about to call it. Call it what you were about to call it. Atrocity.
Yes.
The fucking lie that got a bunch of basically got millions of fucking people actually killed. Like the thing that actually got retarded everyone entire generations. Retarded entire generations and fucking education and retarded their IQ by 50 points.
The amount of psychological damage, mass psychological damage, let alone the deaths, let alone the the vaccine side effects, the long-term vaccine side effects, which we cannot know because no longitudinal research could have been done, obviously. And what research was done was rushed, not at all done under normal guidelines, over a flu with comparable death tolls to the average flu every year that shut down the world for 3 years, and we were supposed to listen to the science, and everybody with any sense, including other scientists, had to sit there and shut up because we were silenced into man, I was pissed off for 3 years. I couldn't make any videos about COVID because if they wouldn't get, restricted. But despite being the biggest topic, videos with no views, and the reason why is because it got suppressed. Even though I wasn't talking about COVID, I was just talking about the social psychological effects of it. Those are the worst performing videos I've ever done, except for my ones about Asian horror movies, right? Those are the two that have, the couple of videos I've done that have performed worse. And that's because it was being actively suppressed. This has all come out and been made public. We know this. So I can't believe, what a fucking moron to walk into this of all avenues of discussion. Where there's no way, this is an unwinnable thing for the trust the science perspective.
Said it might be from the beginning.
I find that to be very racist.
And against Joe?
Both of you.
It used to be racist when we were saying that it was likely that the COVID variant had come out from the place making COVID variants.
Especially
But
since
isn't it
it's
great?
made in the exact
Just
town.
seemed like it. Seemed like it was possible to us.
By the way,
ask yourself this: who has access to you? Google every treatment you.
Hang on. Sorry, I don't mind skipping Joe Rogan's ads. I think he's okay.
lab where they were developing like gain of function research, and they go, no, what happened is these freaks were eating bat heads.
That's
And you're
right,
like, wait,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not
That's
racist.
pretty
The other
racist.
one was
They're
racist.
eating pangolins.
But that one fell apart. That one fell apart in front of our eyes.
Well, it
And
took
of course,
4
It took
years.
4
Yeah.
years. And I've said repeatedly, it's kind of inevitable to me that if you see something that is called a racist conspiracy theory fall apart and become also what we used to call true in a few years, it's likely to blow a lot of people's minds. But the question then is, do you help those minds that have been blown blow themselves out some more by doing a whole load of other conspiracy stuff? Do you decide to go, hey, what else have we been lied to? Maybe.
Well, almost like you have been lied to about a whole bunch of shit.
And it's not liable to shrink in number anytime fucking soon. The number's going to expand into infinity.
As he's able to laugh here about COVID, although I think that was it's interesting that they laughed about it when that would have been a vector to really go at him, considering what he had just been saying about trusting the science. Wait, now I lost my train of thought. Oh, fuck, damn it. I'm pissed off. Sorry, I gotta keep.
Maybe Churchill wasn't a great guy. Maybe Hitler wasn't such a bad guy. Maybe the Holocaust.
Nobody is
exactly
saying that.
what
No one is saying maybe Hitler wasn't such a bad guy.
You are saying that. You are saying that in the 1930s, Hitler kept the anti-Semitism down.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What he was saying is that he didn't do it as publicly. He was doing it in meetings because the support for that kind of thinking wasn't as ubiquitous as it was.
Joe, I've seen this before. I know exactly what these guys are drinking. They're drinking a cup.
You don't even know who they are. What is the point of any of this? You don't know who they are. You can't remember their names, let alone what they think or believe, and you're trying to get into their deep fucking psychology?
Are people someone who is in absentia?
Oh my god, that's...
Full of
gibbering
very, very
fucking
discredited historians like David Irving, and they are just regurgitating it. And it was always been the same thing. It is always an attempt to minimize Hitler's anti-Semitism actions. Eventually, down the road, you get to minimizing his actual involvement in the Holocaust, and then you can go on to the next day.
Where has this happened? He says, and then you get, as if there's some historical precedent for this. Like what? But where? Where's the historical precedent that this is what happens? That in fact that it's a sort of consistent thing that you can know and predict. Because you'd need some statistical evidence for that one, homie.
About Daryl,
Okay, I think what you're guilty of here is kind of similar to, I think, something that the woke left has done, which is this concept creep, where you're talking about some people online who are doing this thing, and then you're lumping in other people with them. Listen, I'll just say this right now. Daryl Cooper is currently, I believe, almost finished, or he's working on a big World War II series. And
Can't
when
wait.
this comes
What's
out,
it gonna be on?
we can see...
podcast.
Yeah, he does long-form podcasts. When this comes out, I'm quite confident to say beforehand that if you're going into it expecting him to be downplaying the atrocities of the Nazis or downplaying the evil things that Adolf Hitler did, you're going to be disappointed.
My point is, why are we even talking about this guy?
Because you brought him up.
What are you talking about? Oh my god!
I can just hear fucking Spoon cackling to himself. Because he gets to
Oh my
watch
God,
everyone's
you brought
fucking
him up.
hot blood pressure spike.
Oh my god.
Yes, because he comes on podcasts like this. My point is, this is not a serious historian. He's not a historian.
He never claims to be. He's been doing these long-form podcasts on these
Who's been talking about it for 20 minutes?
subjects for over a decade. And if you go back...
Even who? Who's? Carol or Cooper? Which one?
to 2015 and listen to Fear and Loathing in the New Jerusalem, it's an incredible piece. And it's
Excellent.
how many hours long?
30-something.
And it literally starts from the persecution of the Jews, where they're being driven out of Europe. It's like this horrific account of what happens to these people. It's what he's trying to do is paint a picture of how the world goes mad and how the world goes sideways. And he's doing it from the perspective initially of these Jewish people that are living in Europe, that all of a sudden their neighbors are turning on them and they're being attacked. Like it's incredibly charitable. But what he's trying to do is show what happened.
Whoa.
What?
Oh shit. Rogan got us.
But they just get struck?
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. I don't know what to do. Your stream's been temporarily blocked. We detect a video belonging to someone else. You plan to continue. Please ensure that the... What?
We are spending more time paused than playing. So they can't argue it's not transformative use.
I don't know how to fix this.
Might have to be a manual appeal.
Well, Stream has been temporarily blocked. Ugh.
And now what?
I don't know. I'm not sure what to do. It just says stream unavailable. Bring up something else on the screen that's not Rogan.
What, on my end?
Yeah. So that it just doesn't see it, and then maybe it will... Oh, okay. No longer being blocked. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Are we good to go?
Did it fix it that quickly?
Apparently.
Okay. So that we got blocked by Rogan. We'll just have to pause more frequently. I thought we'd been pausing quite frequently, but apparently not. Okay, well, sorry about that, guys. We'll try to pause more often, I guess.
How about we just turn the screen to just a black screen?
Oh, Spoon, can you mirror it in OBS? That might help. Do you know how to do that? I can walk you through it real quick. Sorry, guys.
Yes.
We talked about this before, and I was like, oh, Rogan won't, he won't get struck.
I'm a bit reticent to just mirror Joe Rogan's name, because his last name will become Nagel. We're skirting a dangerous location.
You click on the object or whatever. I think, is it filters or I think it's filters, and then yeah, right?
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering which one is it.
Oh.
Or can we just go fucking and just
It's being blocked. It's being blocked again. Oh my god. It's being fucking blocked again.
It's not come up at mine yet.
Okay, let's not have the video. Let's just have the audio.
Yeah.
Okay. Spoon.
Yeah.
Just show your desktop or...
to human beings when they're
Whoop. Hang on, I'll let you know when it comes back.
That's policy violations.
Policy violations? No, it says detected. No, there we go. Okay, no. We're back now. Okay, no video. We'll try that. Then. Okie dokie. We'll try it. If it doesn't work, yeah, maybe we'll go over to Rumble or whatever. Okay, I know we weren't even playing it. Yeah, I had no idea they were this aggressive about this, but oh well. Normally it's not. Do you have that set up though, Spoon? So it's just the audio?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with that then.
confronted with unbelievable atrocities and how things go so incredibly sideways.
Lots of people have written and spoken about that.
So why is he not allowed to? I
He
don't
is
understand.
allowed to. So he is allowed to. I'm saying that there's a weird way in which figures like him, whose ideas are not being countered when they are raised, are given platform after platform to spread their views. They are welcome to those platforms. I'm not saying they shouldn't be platformed. I'm saying these are very, very fringe figures.
What the fuck else are you saying? What else could you possibly be saying? Other than I want them to be, I don't want them to have a platform. What you're criticizing is them having a fucking platform on Joe Rogan.
Keep going.
Who are pushing ideas that are either debunked now, have been debunked before, or they will not stand up against somebody who disagrees with them.
Oh, okay, I would just say maybe this is the disconnect here. When you say there's not pushback, Daryl's one line on Tucker Carlson, this one line where he himself said he was being hyperbolic and kind of says this to prod at his buddy, got more.
Oh, so he got this from a Tucker Carlson clip. So everything he knows about this guy comes from some Tucker. I'm sure he got a PR sheet that's talking points, you know?
Yeah.
That's just how it comes off.
more pushback than any one line I've ever heard on a podcast. There were numerous articles written by historians, numerous shows that covered it. People went through their Twitter threads about it. So I don't exactly get your point. Like, there was lots of pushback. If you're saying he should go and debate somebody who's giving him pushback on that, okay, maybe. I also think it's reasonable for him to say, I don't really do debates.
Yeah, I think it's weird to mainstream very fringe views constantly and not give another side. I think that's weird.
But he.
Well, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a contradiction here. You're saying now that these are fringe views, but then you're also saying that these are enormously powerful
No.
views.
There's
so,
no
like,
contradiction. Let me clear it up if you think there is. I think there are very fringe views that have become mainstreamed on the right.
But then aren't they not fringe by definition?
Sure.
Yeah, it can't even be logically coherent with the shit he's saying. Like, even what? Is it blocked again?
No.
I'm not seeing a thing about it. But okay.
Sure, you can play an epistemological game.
No, I'm just saying let's be
accurate. You do understand the concept, don't you?
That fringe ideas become mainstreamed.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
Sure.
So that's it.
Okay. I'm not exactly sure. So you're saying that what Joe shouldn't have Daryl Cooper on?
I'm saying that
he should debate.
But is it down again?
It doesn't say it's down. Oh no, they just removed the stream. Removed for policy violations. Do you want to move over to Rumble?
Well, completely over?
Yeah, it shut down the stream. I don't think it's gonna let us keep playing.
Oh, what the?
What do you want to do? I don't know what to do. I'm gonna end the stream though. Wait.
I can do it on Rumble if you want.
Yeah. I didn't know they were that aggressive about it.